Good evening, everybody. Today is Wednesday, May 20th, 6 p.m. We are here at the Great Hall for our Select Board meeting. A couple of things. This meeting is not live streamed tonight for those of you, but it will be up. Timothy promises maybe tomorrow or sooner. Tomorrow. And the reason we're here not live streaming is you can look behind us. There's a theater troupe that's using Town Hall. We have lights and staging all over the place, so it just made it impossible for Timothy to and Wolfeboro Community TV, but we appreciate them configuring the room. Before we get going, could I ask everybody if you wouldn't mind, and if you have any objection, please stay seated. We'd like to have a Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is this way. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, a couple of announcements before we get going here. Just to keep you all posted on what we're doing with the town manager recruitment. It's ongoing. We will be giving you more information in the next probably week to 10 days on the next steps. Candidates are submitting applications to MRI. We do not know who they are, and we don't want to know who they are. That's kind of the deal we struck with everybody. We are going to be having a chat amongst ourselves about how interviews should take place, how that whole process works. The good news is two of our colleagues went through this when Mr. Owen left and a new town manager came in, so they may be able to inform us as to what's going on. The second thing is I want to read something into the record for the benefit of our residents. We have been getting asked questions about Trask Mountain Road. What's the status of Trask Mountain Road? Is it going to be paved? And so I'm going to read this into the record, and this is kind of where we are. For the record, certain residents of the town have filed a petition to stop the town from proceeding with the paving work on Trask Mountain Road. There was a court hearing on the request last week. We hope to have a decision shortly. That's as far as we can go, because that's all we know. So that I will put into the record. Two more items. Please keep the conversation in the room quiet. This microphone is the only thing recording us, and it has a tendency to pick up crosstalk, so please do that. And something different, if you come to up to the podium, we ask that you just simply give us your name and your phone number. That'll help us, because we have had a couple of times where Brenda has said, I couldn't hear who was speaking. So we'll go there. Okay? Mr. Muccio, do we have a need for non-public?
We do not.
No non-public at this time. The next item on our agenda is consideration of the May 6th minutes. Any comments, board members, on the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept them as written.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes. All those in favor, aye, please. Aye. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Public input, 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Anybody want to come to the microphone? Sign in.
Sign in?
Sign in and tell us who you are.
Oh, okay, that's why I was standing up here. Bobby Budman, the phone number is private, not public, when you say give us your phone number.
Okay, just write private. We can track you down.
No, I mean, I just didn't want to, I think I looked around the room and we all kind of went, we're going to give our phone numbers publicly?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. It's a form. Bobby Budman, just wanted to let you know, and I know you may have checked your email, if not, that 2024 grant, I don't know if you saw your emails, we did not get that grant for the storm drain system. However, there's a pre-approval process and it is due on June 1st. So hopefully you'll take that and jump on that so we can get funding. That's it. Write my name.
That was it?
That's it. For this.
So much.
You
Sorry.
You have 2 minutes and 20 seconds left.
Anybody else for public input? Please.
Susan Bunting, Wolfeboro resident. There was some question about the capital reserve fund, and I just went through my paperwork, and a memo from James Pinio to you, Dave, on July 1st, 2022. He quoted, in 2011, a capital reserve fund was established, quote, for the purposes inclusive of any of the following actions related to the Firehouse Community Center facility: acquisition of property, architectural and engineering fees, rehabilitation of property, construction or reconstruction of property. So as far as I can remember, there's about $72,000 to $73,000 left in the capital reserve fund. And we are working very hard to raise the private dollars. But I am hoping that we can work together with the town and use some of that money out of that capital reserve fund to do some of the rehabilitation or architectural or engineering fees or some of the things that need to get done to really do justice to that building. So I'm just rereading that to you for your information. There is money set aside by the town to do these things, and we'd like to partner with you in doing that.
Thank you, Susan. Okay. Anyone else? All right, we're going to close up on the public input. And thank you for, and Bobby and Susan, thank you for being the inaugural signatures to the...
Which was your pen?
It's our pen. Don't take our pen.
That's mine.
It's Barry's pen. Don't take Barry's pen.
Don't reclaim it.
Don't steal pens. First item on our agenda after the public hearing is a public hearing on speed limit change. Please take notice that the Wolfeboro Select Board will hold a public hearing on May 20th, 2026 at their meeting that starts at 6 p.m. in the Great Hall of the Town Hall located on 84 South Main Street to receive comments from the public about the proposed speed limit change. And the speed limit change is to reduce the speed limit of 30 miles an hour on Keewaydin to 25 miles per hour. Generally, the speed limit for town roads in the town has been set at 30. State legislation enacted in 2022 authorizes the town to reduce speed limits on town roads to 25. The town of Wolfeboro has received a petition from residents for a reduction in speed to 25 miles per hour on this road, citing significant speed and safety concerns, especially during the summer months when the population on the road increases. There was a House bill that was to be put forward, and that bill failed. The town clerk has verified the signatures of the petitioners, so you've gone through that process. Board members, how would you like to proceed? Ms. Murray?
Yeah, I think we open up for public comments, a public hearing.
Okay. Public comment? You get to sign in. Thank you.
Tough pen.
Is it a nice pen?
It's tough to write.
Terrible pen? Give it back to Barry.
Don't throw it.
Okay, I'm not sure if you remember us from
Your
before.
name, please.
but
Yeah.
My name is Jamie Fidham,
Hey, Jamie?
Jerry Davidson.
and we are residents of Keewaydin Road, and it's rough living there in the summertime especially. The police chief was here the last time we were here and said he went up to the road and wasn't comfortable with 30 miles an hour. He said 20 was too high. But if 25 is as low as we can go, it's better than what we have now, which is a cautionary 20 sign, which is suggestive and not enforceable, apparently. So we want like a permanent sign where if the police come up, they can enforce the speed limit. There is an electronic sign up there now, set at 30. People well exceed the 30. I have a neighbor that has a good eye on it. She's always reporting. So we really feel like in order to feel even slightly safer, we would like a 25 mile an hour. And the whole road, except for 2, are in agreement to that. The 2 that aren't, one has a long driveway and the other's a speeder, so.
Okay.
I concur with everything that Jamie says. We both live very close to the road, and it happens to be a speed up spot. Turning off of Keewaydon Road in the wintertime, there's 17 houses that use the road. In the summertime, there are 95 houses, and 98% of those people drive by our houses on the main part of Keewaydon Road, and they travel too fast. It's not just the residents, or summertime residents, or year-round residents. It's the workers. It's the delivery people. It's everyone.
Landscapers.
And there is a lot of traffic besides just the residents. And if you take 2 cars for each home, which we all know that there are more than that, it's a lot of traffic in and out of that road, and it's pretty dicey being out there.
It's impossible to walk your dog or your kids. We have people that in the wintertime will walk the private roads because they don't feel safe on the main road. It gets smaller in the wintertime as well with the snow banks, and it's only 20 feet wide to begin with, so it's a dead-end road. I've never done 30 on the road, so I don't know how that feels. But it would be great if we could get at least a fairly safe limit.
Because no speed limit, according to the chief, no speed limit means a 35 mile an hour speed limit. And that is way too fast. That's 15 miles an hour faster than anybody should be going on that road. And so if we don't have anything, that's what it is. So we would just ask that the board please consider a request for a reduced speed limit. Thank you.
Any questions here?
I just have 2.
Brian,
Private
speak up
road-
loud so the
Yeah.
folks can hear.
Private roads are no walk in the park either. Our private road is traversed by town vehicles, fire, police, Goodhue, boat company, everything. And we are not even allowed to set a speed limit, and it's not enforceable by the police. So we're in horrible shape. I think that if 25 is what you think would help, and is the board going to use a police report for every road that comes to us now? We should have a standard type of policy when we determine these roads. So are we going to fall upon the police department to do this for us for each road or not? Because if we are going to the police for a study on each individual road, then there's consistency. If we are just deciding ad hoc because we think this road is busier and this road isn't, then that doesn't work. I think that your road has been proven that it should be 25 miles an hour. So my question to the board is, we can approve this, but what are we going to do for other roads? And is this something that we need to address?
Can I just speak to that for a second? I've driven a lot of roads. I drive a school bus. I drive a minivan now. I'm all over the place. There are not very many roads in this town or any of the district's towns that are public roads that are not posted.
Yeah. Okay, Linda?
I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't any. I'm just saying that as a general rule, most town roads are posted.
I also feel like it should be taken into account that it goes from 17 that actually live on Keewaydon Road to 95 in the summer. That can't be said of every road.
Linda?
The statute says we need to have a study or engineering study, and I think that Brian is on target. If we set precedent now that we use our chief of police or the police department to go and give us the evaluation, we should be consistent with that.
Is that considered the proper study? It says study or engineering. Is it enough for us?
Well,
Are we comfortable with that?
let's ask the applicants if any questions for the, yeah, John, please.
So we made a motion last time when you were here. We made a motion to ask our attorney whether or not the traffic study with the flashing
sign.
light was a good enough survey. Did we get any response from that?
I think the response from the attorney, I'm going to memory, was we had to do an engineering and traffic study. The chief signed up to put the radar out there and to monitor it. And the captain wrote us a short missive the other evening telling us the results of that. That was
He's gonna
about
tell
it.
us tonight?
You have it in your packet.
I didn't see it.
Okay.
We'd love to hear
All right,
that.
Linda?
We'd love to hear
Yeah, I
that.
just, I think we
If I
need,
could, hang on, Linda. You may not have it in your packet. We've had a little kerflumpy with the emails, but it's out. It's there. You should have it. Might be in your
So do
email.
we have it to report to these people what that
We'll have the captain read that if you like.
Okay.
Linda, go ahead.
yeah, I just think that I think we need to make a decision before we decide on this, on whether we're going to take that as our standard, or whether we're going to go out and have an engineering study done as our standard. Because I agree, we need some kind of standard, so we treat you the same way we treat anybody else.
I agree with
I think I'd love to do it, give you the lower, but I think it is a valid question on how we are going to evaluate all roads
Yep.
in a
Right.
consistent manner.
Right. Anybody over there? Hang on. No? John?
I don't understand, these folks have come to us with a request. If we can create a blueprint with their information, then we should enact it. We shouldn't question whether or not somebody else might come to us. These folks are in front of us right now, so we should act on their request.
So can I try that, a response? See, my view on that is that we want to be consistent in the decisions we take so that someone knows what the rules are. We want to be consistent. The piece of paper you haven't had a chance to see, but it's in your emails. The piece of paper from the captain, from the police department, I'll summarize it. It's, to me, not a lot of traffic. Average speed is around the speed limit. Occasionally, a couple of people higher. And the recommendation, if I understand from the PD, is okay for a seasonal implementation, but I think longer term we have to really do an engineering study. What's not known to us, did I get that right, Captain? Pretty close. What's not known to us, to Linda's point, and I think Brian's point, is what constitutes an engineering study. The writers of this statute, many moons ago, did us all a wonderful service by saying you've got to come up with an engineering study. We have no idea where that is. That's my personal.
What that means.
And I was kind of,
How much it costs?
Right.
where's the engineering?
Are we gonna spend $50,000 a road for 10 roads, so we spend $500,000 trying to figure out, or can we just go with what the police department as our safety department says and follow their recommendation?
Well, and then we should do that, because the chief of police went up there himself and said at 15 he felt comfortable. Much
Yeah.
over that, he did not. And I think that we, the people that live on the road every day, are perfectly aware of the traffic. And it is substantial, and we haven't even hit Memorial
Yeah.
Day yet. You're
We've been out
talking
there for
about
another
a
week.
dead end, less than half a mile road.
And I agree with you. I think 25 is a good speed limit for it. I just want to make sure that the board agrees that if we're using this process for these,
We're the blueprint.
that if you are the blueprint, that we are okay with this, because the next group that comes to us, we have to follow the same process or we're not being consistent.
Otherwise, I think I can see you're nodding your
Yes,
head. Otherwise,
agreed.
it's like unbalanced. John, you had a comment.
So the other dilemma here is your testimony is that everybody hasn't arrived yet. So
Right.
what we're gonna do is, we're gonna wait for everybody to speed down the road.
Before you
And
take
we're not
action.
gonna take any action,
Right.
but we're gonna wait until let them speed all down the road, and then we're gonna come in afterwards and say, oh yeah, they were speeding. Then the people are gonna drop off, and then time's gonna go by, and then we're gonna forget all about it.
Right,
And then
exactly.
we'll
Well,
be-
we won't.
I would hate to say that, let's make a decision before we have to take emergency, before one of us or any of us have to have an emergency situation, because it will happen.
Actually, I saw a police officer on the road, and he said he thought it was an outlier, but somebody did 60 down that road.
Now,
I don't know what time it was.
Brian's checking it
Mr.
out.
Shea,
So, again, I agree that 25 is good. I'm not in as much of a rush, although I think that we could approve it tonight. Again, if the board thinks a police study is enough of a study to do it, how old is Keewaydin Road?
My house was built in 1961.
So I don't think it's a time is of the essence, and we have to do it in.
I think it's been broached before. I
And so
think that,
it's not this emergency that we have to, if we don't do it now, the whole world's gonna come to an end. But it needs to be taken
it
care
does
of.
need to be taken care of. And there are more houses and more people all the time going in.
Yeah, I would think that for putting it up seasonally, when we know that we're going to have an influx of people coming in, we could do it as a pilot seasonally for this year, reduce it, get our information, and then take a look at it and decide whether that gave us enough information and whether we would do it by just the police or whether we want to do an engineering study.
Great idea, and then that gives us till the fall when we can take and we can look at it and then make it permanent. Or see what kind of study we need if we need something else. Hopefully we don't need anything else.
we have the captain here. If you're done with your stuff, we have the captain here. Let's invite him up to give the police department's perspective on this. It may shed a little more light on what we're trying to get done here.
If nothing else, I know I for one would thoroughly appreciate a seasonal speed limit. If that's where we need, the direction we need to go is way better than nothing.
Yeah,
I think that, again, sorry to interrupt you, but I think the statute provides a seasonal option. And I think the seasonal option was written, I'm going to give credit to the rest of these characters, with the idea in mind that says, let's pilot this. Let's not say no and then create the situation, John, you're thinking about, which is prospectively we could have a problem. Let's pilot this, and then let's figure out during that summer season, do we actually have a volume issue? And then we can deal with it, and also figure out what the right engineering study is. So I think there's wiggle room in this, my personal opinion.
And I believe the seasonal can go down to 20.
I don't think that's right. But anyway, we could be right. The captain, go ahead, John.
Will you remind the newcomers of what the night is about here? I know there's a bunch of people that just showed up and they're like, we can't hear us.
Yeah,
It's
unfortunately,
very
we're unable to live stream this evening. We have a play that's here, and as a result, that is the only microphone. If you have difficulty hearing, please feel free to come closer. The topic at hand right now is Keewaydin. Should or should not the speed on Keewaydin be reduced? The question before this board is there enough evidence to do a seasonal adjustment to speed or a permanent adjustment to speed? That's kind of where, did I get it right? All right.
Good.
Cool? Captain Libby? Sign in.
Yeah. So Captain Mark Levy, Wolfeboro PD. So we did the traffic investigation through our director, through the chief of police.
Mark, louder, a little louder, please.
A little louder.
Yeah, please.
Through the chief of police for the data you guys saw the speed limit sign that was down there? Where'd they go? Oh, there you go. Thought you were over there before. So we took all that information, the data that came from it from 1 week, that's what we took from. From that 1 week, we had approximately 297 cars go by the sign to collect the data that we did need to do this study. So, like he said, the range was from mostly 19 to 25 was the speed limit that came through. You did have just one that went through at 37, so there is some speed that's there. But majority of traffic that was traveled in that area was 18 to 30 miles an hour. So, I mean, that's the majority of it. So that's what you're looking at. And you mentioned travel is going to, I mean, there's going to be a lot more travel coming in. And that's where we come into the effect of a seasonal, which would be 20 miles an hour. It's only for a 4-month period. 20. Which is only for a 4-month period on a 12-month calendar year. So then you can redo it again the following year if you want to, or the select board has the option of going to the 25 mile an hour for the entire 12 months. But the recommendation that the police department did give is for a season. Try that first. I think I'd like that. We got no problem doing another study during the summertime to see what that looks like.
People do definitely slow down.
Let's,
Correct. Yeah.
yeah, we'll have to control that.
People with the electronic sign definitely do slow down, and there has been some police presence on the road, so that helps. But we know as soon as the sign's gone, it's going to be back to normal, and probably even with a sign. But at least then we'd have something enforceable. We don't have anything enforceable.
So
right
for the
now.
benefit of everyone out there, Ms. Venom is saying that the radar sign does have a dampening effect on traffic flow. People kind of pay attention to it. But the concern is when that goes away, there may be a speed up. The captain has said, based upon PD's assessment, they would recommend a seasonal approach. We still have a responsibility, I think, to institutionalize, per Linda and Brian's ask, what's the engineering study that has to be done when others come forward? Okay? Any questions for the captain, please?
Oh, from the board or from the...
Yeah, any questions for the captain?
Would we be waiting for the town attorney to give you a response on whether or not your survey was good enough for us?
Linda?
Do you need the study for a seasonal?
You need a study for any change that you do have.
Even the seasonal
Yeah,
needed the
yeah.
study. Thank you.
And this would cover it.
This would cover that
Yeah.
study.
Because that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting
Well-
for a legal opinion from our attorney to say that this is valid for us, for a study.
Well, the RSA mentions it, which he read earlier.
Right.
It just needs a study or an engineer.
Yeah.
It depends on which one you want to.
But John's asking a question here that says, is this traffic analysis that was done during that period of time that sampled the traffic data, is that enough for this board to take a decision on a seasonal basis? That's really going to be the question when we vote. Okay? And if somebody thinks we got it wrong, you know,
So
Linda, hang on, Linda's next. Linda?
I just would like that we do that with a pilot. I think they did do a study, and if we do it as a pilot, that we ask that another study be done in the summer.
Yep.
While we clear up exactly, and we can explain what you have done on both times and find out from town attorney whether at that point that fits the requirement. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, well, we have to, like Brian says, we have to find out what the cost is of what type of other study that we have to do.
Correct.
So I'd make a motion to...
Hang on, haven't closed the public hearing.
Oh, you want to speak?
You have a question?
Right, Mike Barton.
And Mike,
My comments are not related to the merits of your request at all. It's about, Select Board Member Linda Murray said that the statute says a study, or an engineering study, a traffic study or engineering study. I noticed that Chief Libby used the term investigation, did not call what they did a study. So to other points, is that legally, can you support taking his recommendations based on what they did? They did what they could do. But is that an engineering study? The problem is those terms are not defined in the statute, I suspect, unfortunately.
And this is what
We need to fix that next time.
This is what I said at
Specificity.
This was at the last meeting. I said this at the last meeting. I have no problem with the speed limit. We just got to make sure that we're following state RSA and we're creating a process for the next and the next and the
There are 50 roads in Wolfeboro that are as narrow and as heavily trafficked as Keewaydin. If you do it for Keewaydin, you're going to be doing. I'll be the first to request that it be done on other roads, and just mire you in a controversy and get you tied up in knots because you're not following statute as generally understood. Engineering study, that's an official study that somebody with official capacity and expertise does, not just let's put a sign, let's put a radar and get results and present data. It's good data, and I'm not sure the data supports your request, unfortunately, given the speeds and stuff. But I don't think voting yes to change the speed limit in this meeting will be legally supported.
Okay, thank you.
My opinion.
Questions?
I am not a lawyer, nor do I play one on TV.
On TV, no? All right.
That's why I was going to use the word pilot. Pilot you do is to kind of test it out. And that would give us the time to find out exactly, what would be included in an engineering study and what. I wouldn't do it without the word pilot, meaning it's a test.
Mike, Mr. Duchesne?
So, there are other roads in town that are 25 miles an hour. I'm not sure, I haven't found any that have seasonal changes on them, but I'm sure there might be at least one or two. And I did a little bit of digging and couldn't find any information on any other engineering study or studies that were done in the past to change those roads to 25 miles an hour. This is why I've said that we should have a process in place. So my motion was going to be to continue this until we get a definitive answer from our town attorney and from DOT as to what type of study and what type of engineering study constitutes or satisfies the RSA.
I have a motion by Mr. Duchesne to continue this conversation until we learn more from the lawyer and from DOT about the sufficiency of the study. Do I have a second?
I'll second it for
I
conversation.
have a motion and a second.
I would like a time limit on it. If we table it, that we get this done, and so that at our next regular scheduled meeting, we have an answer.
Correct.
That's, if the time frame is on it, say, and I think, I'll have to look at, I think it's in June. Anybody know what the first meeting in June is?
If I look at my phone, I'll have to...
Well, that's what I was going to do.
I'll have to arrest myself by looking at it.
There's two of them on there.
Okay, it's June 3rd.
Brian, are you willing to amend your motion that says on or before June 3rd?
So moved.
Okay.
Well,
Yes, Mr. Thurston.
so we're being redundant because we already made this motion once at our last meeting to find out from council whether or not it was a legal survey or not.
Mr. Duchesne has introduced that the Department of Transportation has to define the boundaries of the engineering study.
It's a town road, it's not a state road.
DOT controls speed limits.
On the state road.
It controls speed limits.
Well, RSA, so
I might be wrong, very honestly. You may be right, I might be wrong, that in fact we do have, and we need to know this from Nathan, do we have the ability, despite what the RSA says, do we have the ability to modify speed on a town road?
I think that's what,
We already made the motion to ask Nathan about this.
Let's get something from Nathan, not on that question, John, not on that question.
We have.
Barry?
We have reached out to Nathan for clarification.
We did.
I'm looking for it as we speak. But the wording in the RSA, if I can just go back to that, is it's an engineering and a traffic investigation. It's not one or the other. It's both.
Barry, in that RSA, does it specify town roads, or state?
Any alterations, limits, state highways, extensions, therefore, in a municipality or local authorities.
So it's state roads.
Municipal authorities. I guess we'll need a clarification.
If you look at the first paragraph of that, it's saying that it is in the urban district. And so the board would be limited to decreasing the speed limit to 25.
Okay, I can read Nathan's, if that would be helpful.
Please do.
Yes. Nathan's advice was this. Under current law, the select board cannot reduce the speed limit below 25 miles per hour outside of an urban district. I do not think Keewaydon Road would be considered part of an urban district, so the board would be limited to decreasing the speed limit to 25 miles per hour. And then it went on to speak of the pending bill, which didn't pass.
Mr. Thurston.
Of the public, can we understand who Nathan is?
He's our attorney.
Okay.
Sorry. Nathan Fennessy is town council. Thank you. Mr. Thurston.
So should we recognize Chief Warren's recommendation to do a seasonal reduction in speed?
Board members? Linda, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and if you do that, it says, as you see, the board cannot make such a change without engineering or traffic investigation. And that's what he just did. He did a traffic investigation. So that was okay by our attorney. So I think we can do the pilot.
With the chief's recommendation.
Yeah, that's my.
So we have a motion, however, in a second.
I will withdraw.
And I'll revert.
The beloved Deshays and Murrays have withdrawn their motion. We have another motion.
I'll make a motion to do a seasonal reduction of speed limit to 20 miles per hour on Keewaydon Road. What?
Is it 25 or 20?
It's 20 for seasonal.
Well, you can do either.
For 4 months. And we can define where those 4 months are going to be, whether we're going to do it.
And I'll second that.
Hang on, before you,
It's not done.
I would say we would do it from, we do June, July, August, September. That would be the 4 months, June, August.
I'll
Right?
second that.
well, we have a motion and Brian seconded it, and John, you're thirding it.
Okay.
My question to the board is, embedded in this pilot, we still have an opportunity and probably a responsibility to answer the basic question that says, and you started it too, and Linda did as well, what should be the rules of procedure, the process of doing an engineering and other study? We probably need to get that nailed down because
That's
they'll
right.
be back visiting us next year and saying we want to make that permanent. So is there anybody willing to amend their motion to say, in addition, we will take the effort to get,
We can make that a second motion.
you make that a second
I
motion?
think that's,
Second motion.
I like that.
Okay, so I have a motion to reduce to 20 miles an hour on a pilot basis for 4 months, did you say, Linda?
4 months, the
June,
season.
July, August, September.
Yep.
Thank you very much. And we had 2 seconds. He went before you, so we have a second. Any more conversation?
Oh, can I just add one thing?
Mr. Muccio.
Just keep in mind, after the 4 months, it doesn't revert to 25, it reverts back to what it currently
It
is.
goes back up to 3.0,
So it's,
or whatever the road
Which
is.
is, yeah, it's not even marked, it's a 20 caution area that means nothing.
It goes back up to the original stated.
Yes.
Okay. I have a motion, a second, there's no conversation. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Thurston.
Yes.
Ms. Murray.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan. Yes. Mr. Duche.
Yes.
And I say yes as well. Do we have a need for a second motion here?
So I would make a motion to create a process to accept road speed limit reductions or seasonal reductions based on either a police study or investigation or an engineering study. So let's to create a process where we determine whether we're going to use a police investigation or an engineering policy in order to create a reduction in speed limit on any road that comes to us.
Before there's a second, would you be willing to amend that motion to define who does the engineering study? I beat you to it.
You did, so I would make the recommendation that the owners of the road pay for that study if they want to reduce that.
That's only if it's needed.
Yeah, I think we're trying to figure out whether it's needed, but if there isn't, but wouldn't that take place when we put the policy together or the procedure together? This is just, we should develop it.
So we have a motion unseconded because I blurted
I
the
will
question.
second. I will second.
Would you support adding to that we have to define who's going to actually be the person doing the study?
I think we can work that out in the process.
I'm with him.
You're with who?
I'm
You're with him?
seconding his motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion.
So again, if the people on the road are willing to pay for the official study and the town doesn't have to pay for the study and they want to move the ball ahead, they can pay for that study. We just don't know what the study is going to cost.
And I have in our policy, we can state that.
Yes.
That is what they need to do.
See, and I'm a little earlier on in this whole thing. I don't know who the heck's going to do the dang engineering study.
Correct.
I want to put a badge on that problem and say, you got it. And now, John, the question is who pays, how does, I think that's a different discussion, all right? But I have a motion and a second. Nobody wanted.
I have a question about this. Are you saying that on a town road, if the residents are requesting a speed limit, that the residents of that town road would have to pay for a traffic study?
Hang on a second. We haven't crossed that bridge yet.
We haven't.
Okay? We're still at the part of the bridge where we're talking about how do we do these studies? The who pays is a different discussion.
So to that discussion, if we don't have funding for things like that, then it would have to wait for some discussion later on for that study money to be funded for something, unless we have a separate fund to have that study done.
Well, again, we're inside of a motion. The who pays, we're not discussing that right now because student body right colleague said we think we can work that out in the policy drafting. So the who pays comes later, and then where's the money and all that stuff. So the motion on the table is, repeat your motion, please, Mr.
To create a policy to determine whether a police investigation or a engineering study is needed and what kind of studies are needed in order to reduce speed limits to either 25 or to 20 seasonal.
Okay, I have a motion. Is that inconsistent with the second?
I'm consistent.
Motion and a second. Have we done talking about this? We all done? Roll call vote. Mr. Senator. Yes. Mr. Deshays.
Yes.
Ms. Murray.
Yes.
Mr. Thurston.
Yes.
I say yes as well. Okay.
Let me,
Please.
you were saying who would do it? Well, we know we have Stantec on our dime already, and I think they would be a good source to give us some ideas on that.
They're expensive.
We might as well find out, see what they come up with.
Okay. So that business is over. Somebody needs to let Mr. Randall know. We're not done. I'm sorry, Suzanne.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're out of order. You're out of order.
You're in violation of the right to know law.
You're out of order, Suzanne.
You are in violation of the right to know law. The public has a right to listen
and for you to be audible and otherwise discernible. It is to the public at the designated meeting place. We cannot, I will speak for myself, I don't know if anyone else can hear you, and let me further say, all statements, deliberations, and votes must be clear enough for the attendees to track the proceedings. I don't know what the hell you're saying other than what's on this agenda. I think you're in violation of this meeting, and any votes, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt what you're trying to do, but this meeting is totally out of order and totally illegal.
Noted. Let's move to the next item on the agenda, please. Get some signs. Barry, you got that? Thank you. All right, unanticipated funds. The Wolfeboro Select Board will hold a public meeting on Wednesday, May 20th, 2026 at 6 p.m. at the Great Hall, Town Hall, 84 South Main Street, Wolfeboro, New Hampshire, for the acceptance of unanticipated funds for an amount donated that is over $10,000 in accordance with RSA 31:95-B3 bracket A, relative to donations received in the amount of $18,930, as listed below, and are exclusive for repairs to the old Firehouse Community Center located at 32 Laner Street. I'm going to read names into the record. These donors have been asked if they don't mind having their names read into the record, so we'll do that. And if I get the names wrong, I apologize in advance. Donna Solid, $250. Jeffrey Russin, $500. John Zanchi, $100. Dennis and Antoinette Shea, $100. Jonathan and Valerie Hopewell, $500. Carol and Philip Gambali, $200. Noreen Davis, $30. Catherine Barnard, $1,000. Gail Daitzer, $25. Denise Williams, $100. Sandra Wing, $100. Nils and Pamela Olunson, $1,000. Joan and Stephen Scapiccio, $50. Amy M. Knapp, $500. Annie Tracy, $50. Ladies of the Lake Quilters Guild, $250. Chris and Ted Rose, $50. Magdalene Livingston, $200. James and Carol Nutt, $100. Eastern Propane, $7,500. Janet Baker and Richard Lovett, $100. Paul and Edith Damaris, $100. Stephen Goddard, $100. Linda Manaske, $25. Mary Ellen Lorimore, $1,000. And the Winthrop Charitable Fund, $5,000. Public hearing on this. Comments? Close the public hearing. Board members? Linda?
I would like to thank all those people for being so generous in supporting this. I want to thank these people. Okay. I want to thank these individuals for giving to the Firehouse Community Center and moving that project forward.
Anybody else? Motion to accept?
Make a motion to accept.
Mr. Seneca makes a motion to accept these funds. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Deshay seconds. Discussion? All those in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? We apologize that it didn't get done last time. Hopefully we did better. All right, the next item on our agenda is a Community Development Block Grant Update. The Wolfeboro Select Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, May 20th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. in the Great Hall at 84 South Main Street, Wolfeboro, New Hampshire, 03894. The Community Development Block Grant funds are available to municipalities through the New Hampshire Community Development Finance Authority. Up to $500,000 annually is available on a competitive basis for public facility projects, up to $500,000 for housing projects, up to $500,000 for economic development projects, and up to $350,000 annually is available for emergency activities. Up to $25,000 is available per planning study. All projects must primarily benefit low and moderate income persons. The public hearing will update the public on and the acceptance of public 3, the construction of 30 units of affordable housing on Beck Drive in Wolfeboro. This is for the Harriman Hill Housing Project, and I believe, is Donna Lane present to make, Donna, please come on up and tell us what you got here. Thank you. And Donna, we deliberately waited till 6:30 because we had originally scheduled this public hearing for 6:30, but we normally start at 6, so you're in time.
Perfect, thank you,
You're
appreciate it. So we have to have 2 public hearings when we do CDBG. One's before we apply for the funds, so that was quite a while ago, and now we have to do a progress public hearing. So I'm just gonna tell you, and want me to kind of stand like this so y'all can hear me?
Sure,
It's
why
kinda
not?
odd
Why
over
not?
there. I'm gonna stand over here.
Can he
Well,
pick you?
can the microphone hear from there, Timothy?
Perfect.
Yeah.
I have some handouts if anybody is interested. Do you want to? All right, I'm going to tell you so.
Mine back up here. There you go. Yeah, back.
Huh?
Up
Back
here.
up here?
Yeah, stick it
Yep, okay. Project summary to date. All footings, foundation walls, and concrete slabs are poured for all 6 buildings. Exterior framing, sheathing, and interior framing are complete on all buildings. Installation of foundation walls on all buildings is done. Roofing, facial trim, spray foam, and bat insulation are complete. Siding complete on half of the buildings. Window and exterior doors. Interior doors are, 2 of the buildings are complete. Trim and primer, 1 of the 6 buildings. Drywall, half of the buildings are complete. Sprinklers are installed and inspected in half the buildings. Plumbing, electrical, HVAC, rough inspection completed in 5 of 6 of the buildings. Road graded to subgrade and drainage ponds are complete. Remaining items, dumpster pad, propane tank pad, and sidewalk tip downs. Not exactly sure what a tip down is, but okay.
What is a tip
What's a tip down, Karen?
88.
Oh, 88. So it's not a cliff. Siding for half the buildings, interior doors on 4 of the buildings, drywall, trim, and primer on the remaining buildings, kitchen casework, sprinkler installation and inspection in half of the plumbing, electrical, HVAC in the remaining, and septic tank installation, gas line drains to be completed, landscaping, basketball hoop, and final paving. Installation of appliances, fixtures. So the schedule is supposed to be done in July. Any questions from the
Thank you.
board on the current one?
I'll open up. Any questions from the public?
So the updated
Hearing
budget,
none. We'll close it. Questions from the board?
No, I guess Brian was starting down there. Were you to read the updated budget through that hearing?
I didn't need to, but 13 million is the expected cost.
the total expected cost is 13 million and spent to date is $8 million. So they have 5 million left to finish the project, I assume?
Okay. Any other comments from the board?
Do you have a square footage of livable area for that 13 million?
Kara's from Lakes Region.
Come on up
when
here.
they
Come
develop
on up
it.
here. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Carol LaSalle. I work for Lakes Region Community Developers. I'm a developer on the project. Hi, I'm familiar.
So the answer to John's question is you're not sure?
I'm not sure.
You don't have the
Without
data in
looking
front of
that
you?
up. No, I'm not.
But if you want to know, we have 8 one-bedrooms. Does that help at all?
No.
Okay.
It's
We're trying to get a square foot price.
Oh, what was your cost per square foot? Do you know? I think they've been running 3 to 4.
Yeah, it's been running between 300 to 400 per square foot. Yeah, and that's typical of low-income housing tax credit projects under the New Hampshire
A
housing.
little louder.
That price per square foot is typical for low-income housing tax credit projects under the New Hampshire housing construction standards.
So the estimate is $300 to $400 per square foot. That's about consistent with low-income housing construction.
Yes.
Did that answer your question, John?
Yes, sir.
John's question's answered. Anything else, Brian?
So these are built on slabs, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, a neighbor just built a house across from me on a slab, 2,100 square feet, and he paid about $390 a square foot for his construction.
Yeah, that tracks.
That's where you are.
So that's sample size of 1 to confirm what you know. That's good, I mean, that's good.
Just makes sense.
That makes sense.
That's
Okay.
where they are.
Anything else, board members? Okay. What do we have to do here?
We actually have no motions, it's just an update, and to update the board and the public on it, take any comments.
And we appreciate that. Any other questions or comments? John, Linda, anybody? We're good.
But while we're standing in front of
While
you here,
we're here.
while we're here, they would like to ask you if you would consider an application in July to do basically the boilers for the original project. To apply for a new you can't make a decision, but would you consider applying for a new CDBG for the boilers, 18 boilers? 18 boilers in Herman Hill 1.
So who actually writes the grant application for this? Do we know?
Pick me.
You do? I'm just trying to size up the work. And Brian?
Oh, no, not here. There won't be a lot of work here.
So, how old are they?
They're almost 15 years old. So the original Harriman Hill 1 is just about 15. Harriman Hill 2 is about 12 years old.
Have you been having failure issues with them?
We have. The boilers were not great to begin with. And we found out a little too late after the warranty had expired. This predates me, so I'm going secondhand information here. But we did try to rewire all of them, and that just didn't do it. So we're going to go with a replacement.
And are you using propane or oil there?
It's all propane out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you will be upgrading the quality of the boilers?
Yes.
Maybe to like a Wiesmann?
I don't know the specifics of the boilers, but they will be upgraded based on what's
Will they
there.
be using combi boilers?
I don't know. I don't think we have specified which boilers we're using yet. Yeah.
The difference with a combi boiler is a combi boiler creates hot water at a very low firing rate, which saves a lot of fuel consumption. Boiler costs a little bit more money, but when you're buying that many boilers and supplying to that many units, there could be savings. And the Wiesmann are very energy efficient, have a long warranty, and very, very reliable.
So the question before the board is, would we consider writing something up or getting something
You
written
would
up?
write it. Would you
Yeah.
consider putting in for a new application
Okay, so
for?
Linda?
Yes.
Yes, I would be willing to apply for another block grant for boiler.
You'd consider it. Just consider it.
Anybody else?
Consider it.
Term.
Hang on.
Are there other applicants that would be vying for grants also?
In the state, yes. In the town, I haven't heard of any. And the next deadline is July. And basically, we should have heard of it by now. I write probably 90% of the applications for this money.
Yep.
And I haven't heard of anything in the town. So I don't think that's a thing.
Any comment down with you, Dave? You heard of any applications for block grants? Board members, what do you think? Good?
Okay.
Do we need a vote or just consensus?
No vote.
Just consensus.
Wait, there's no votes.
No votes.
We get to do
No
that.
votes.
There's not.
If you do a vote, we can't apply.
You have the consensus, I think, of the board to proceed. Any objection?
No.
No objection. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate
Thanks
it.
for the update. Okay, I have a lot of reading to do here on our bulk vote. I know that there may be an issue or two on the bulk vote. Board members, what's your pleasure? You want me to read the whole bloody thing and then pick them off, or what do you want to do? Go ahead, Lynn.
I guess my concern here is, what do we do with the bulk vote? Usually we just read them and we put it and vote on it. I'm wondering whether we want to pull the temporary events out from underneath the bulk vote, make them their own line, and then if there are any questions, we can just, and that's for a further meeting, we can just have a chance to speak to them. You know, I have one I want to pull out tonight. And so I'll make a motion that we pull out from temporary event B number 3, and that is the one for the Northridge Church to hold a pickleball clinic on June 12th through 14th, 2026.
Let me read that entirely for you, Linda, so that folks can understand. Wolfeboro Select Board consider a temporary event permit from the Northridge Church to host a pickleball clinic from June 12th through 14th, 2026 at the Fossfield Pickleball Courts and Tennis Courts on the 12th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., the 13th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and the 14th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., permit 2026-40. And Linda, you want to make a motion to pull that out for conversation?
Correct.
So there's a motion by Ms. Murray to pull that off the bulk vote for conversation. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Senecal. Discussion, please.
I have some concern. I will want to deny that one, and I would like to be able to speak to it.
You want to do
And
that
we
now?
don't speak to them in, well, we have, the motion hasn't passed, we can come out.
Oh, that's right. Shazam.
Yeah.
All those in favor of pulling this out for discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Len, the floor is yours. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was reading the temporary event permit, and the temporary event permit says a temporary outdoor event, an outdoor function lasting for a limited time, open to the general public and sponsored or organized by a not-for-profit group. My understanding of this is the church is just the not-for-profit entity that's putting in the application, but it's going to be run by a business, and it is not open to the general public. You pay a fee, and they have a certain number of individuals who they have places for. The second thing I have an issue with, the North Bridge Church is not in the Lakes region. It's kind of a way to get around our temporary event. We could send them over to the Pop Whalen, where we do want business and people to rent the facility. And I sent the hours over to Christine, and it would be about $900 for them. They're looking for 6 courts. We only have 4 over at Pop Whalen, but I think we can have a place that they could still run their event. They have been advertising this before we have even seen the permit.
Okay, any other discussion, board members?
Is there a motion?
I was waiting to see.
You want to make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that we deny the permit for, for the North Bridge Church to host a pickleball clinic on June 12th through 14th, 2026. Foss Field pickleball courts and tennis courts, and on the 12th from 4 to 6 p.m., on the 13th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and on the 14th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., and that we offer them the possibility of renting the space at Pop Whalen.
I have a motion from Ms. Murray. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Senecal. Board discussion, please.
Yeah, I have just one question. Haven't we done an Level Up Elite Pickleball at Foss Field in past years that was sponsored by a nonprofit and we approved it? That's my question. And it doesn't mean that I don't think that we should move them to the Pop Whalen, but we have done the Level Up Pickleball, which was a pay-to-play for elite players. It was in a clinic on how to play. It was at Foss Field.
Linda?
Yeah, one, it was by a not-for-profit. I thought when we redid all the rates that we were trying to get out of businesses going down there. And when I read this, it said the general public, and I think we have Christine here that maybe can clarify some of this.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that we're not doing something different than what we've done before, and again, we just have to have that process.
Well, it's entirely possible we might. All right? It's not what we've done in the past, it's what we do in the future.
Correct.
But we have to have good reasons for doing it. Christine?
Right. So you did actually approve this year, September 12th and 13th for Level Up Pickleball. They have done it in the past. I do think it is a for-profit pickleball just like this organization, but it is sponsored by a nonprofit. So
Local nonprofit.
A local
local,
nonprofit.
but
This
I don't
is
think
still a
I don't
nonprofit.
think that says that.
Yeah,
Does
our-
it say
our
that
special-
in our? Right.
Hang on a
So-
minute. Just stand by. Stand by. John?
Are they paying a rate?
Yes. When we establish those fees are implemented. I think their total is around $2,000.
So would this one have to pay the $2,000?
Yeah, they actually already submitted their check to us. We have not done anything with it. We put them in the book tentatively, and we were waiting for this process. So they kind of went through the whole process to see if it was available first, and then we put it up the chain.
Linda?
Yeah, I think we've been misreading our temporary event because it says it has to be open to the general public. But these are not, I think, and I think when we changed the rates, we were trying to get to that. And my understanding is that the Lakes Region Pickleball is not going to support that.
Moving forward, they came to me and said, why would we support that? And I said, I don't know why you're supporting it. So I didn't know if they were getting something for it, but they've changed their organization and have decided moving forward they are not going to do that. But
Go ahead, Mr. Duchesne.
So our special event permit doesn't specify that the nonprofit has to be a Wolfeboro nonprofit. So unfortunately or fortunately, I see no reason why we should approve this based on the one that we just did approve, but we have to, again, make sure that we follow the proper process going forward, look at our ordinances, and follow the ordinance. Just like we have to make sure that when we make motions, as John has said tonight, when we make motions and vote on things, we follow through with our motions, instead of letting them just fall to the side of the road.
Aside from that, Linda, do you have any other thoughts?
No, and it really what's happening is when we do this, and I think we were trying to get to this, is that our taxpayers, our citizens of the town, can't use all those courts. And that is the issue. And this is even further away. It's not even a nonprofit. And it made me go read this ordinance again and makes me realize we never should have done level up. So do we make another mistake here when we should not allow any for-profit being supported by a nonprofit to use our town courts to make money? And that's what we're having,
So now we broach another rock that we just flip over. Because I've heard this board say to people who have come to us, well, you're not a nonprofit, go find a nonprofit.
That's good to know. That's all hearsay.
We have done this.
That's all hearsay.
That's not hearsay.
Okay, whatever.
We have done this. Again, we need to start making a policy and following a policy.
Can I raise my hand too? Can you recognize me? I try to look at this in a simplistic way. The courts are available for the public, period. If somebody wants to use the courts for things, it should be for public. That's in the policy, period. If a nonprofit wants to do something, whether they're here or someplace else, and use our courts, they're available, period. However, if a for-profit organization wants to drive through a nonprofit to use our courts, I find that troubling, period. And whether we've done it in the past, it doesn't mean we should do it in the future. And so and then the business person in me, I'll be done in a second, Ray. The business person in me says we are prospectively, and this isn't a mean thing to the Northridge Church, we are prospectively inviting for-profit organizations to come through a nonprofit to monetize some things. I have a problem with that. Brian.
So the example I can use is we had a triathlon company come to us that was a for-profit company, and we actually directed them to the NIC. And that happened. So we need to start following our ordinances And if we're going to do it, we have to do it equal playing field for all.
I don't think there's any objection here to that. Linda?
No, there's no objection. I think we hadn't paid attention to this. I read it, it says this, that's what we should follow. So, no, we shouldn't allow that either. I agree.
Mr. Senecal is moving the question. The question, Linda, if you could restate it, please.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would, I keep on moving my papers.
Yeah, I
here.
wanted this.
No, I need the, oh, here it is. Okay, I am saying that we will deny the North Ridge Church to host a pickleball clinic from June 12th to June 14th, 2016, to use the Fossfield pickleball courts and tennis courts on the 12th from 4 to 6 p.m., on the 13th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., on the 14th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., and that we offer up to them the use of Pop Whalen, and inform them that that facility, we do like businesses to come and use. So they could still they could still hold their clinic. It would be at a different place. They would be short 2 courts, but they could still go forward.
So Ms. Murray has reintroduced her motion for clarity. Call the question, please. All those in favor, let's do a roll call for Mr. Senecal.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, item number 3, which is permit 2026-40 has been denied. Okay, if there's no objection, I'm going to be reading a lot of stuff here into the record, which I have to do, okay? Weekly manifest, May 8, 2026, $385,102.34. Weekly manifest, May 15, 2026, $244,565.45. Temporary event permits. The Wolfeboro Select Board will consider a temporary event permit from the Harriman Hale American Legion Post 18 to host the Memorial Day Parade on May 25th along South Main Street from Pickering Corner to Wolf Field to the town docks from 8:30 to 10:30. That is permit 2026-1. The applicant was invited to speak. They chose not to. 1-9. You're right, John. Apologize. Number 2, Wolfeboro Select Board will consider a temporary event permit from the Harriman Hale American Legion Post 18 to host the 4th of July Parade on July 4th, 2026, rain date July 5, 2026, along North Main Street to South Main Street from Old Lakeview Terrace to Clark Road from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Permit number 2026-20. Same question was asked of the applicant. The Wolfeboro Select Board will consider a temporary event permit from the Economic Development Committee to host the Lake Winnipesaukee Day on August 14th, 2026, at the town docks and Cape Park from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Is it 10:30 p.m.? Winnipesaukee Day?
Yes.
10:30 p.m. Permit number 2026-43.
Isn't it 8:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m.?
Is it 8:30 p.m., Brian?
Nope, it's 5.
All day, John.
It's 5 o'clock p.m. to 10:30 p.m.
Okay, 5 p.m. Excuse me for, my notes are wrong. The Wolfeboro Select Board will consider a temporary event permit from the Wolfeboro Historical Society to host the Saturday morning Irregulars Car Club Antique Show on June 20th, 2026 at the Clark Museum Complex from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Permit number 2026-44. The Wolfeboro Select Board will consider a temporary event permit from the Lions Club to host the 6th Annual Car Show on July 5 at the Nick from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. 2026-45. The Wolfeboro Select Board will consider a temporary event permit from the All Saints Church to host their annual summer fair on July 18th at All Saints Church from 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. This particular applicant was asked, but the mailbox of the applicant, voice mailbox is full, so we asked them to show up, but we couldn't reach them. So we're going to go ahead and ask the board if they want to approve it. That's permit 2026-46. Intent to cuts. 396 Pleasant Valley Road, tax map 249, lot 1-1. 121 Filter Bed Road, tax map 190, lot 26, $6,254.34. New Garden Road, tax map 255, lot 4, in the sum of $1,731.52. The next item is property tax credits and exemptions, 11 Green Street, tax map 231, lot 5, denial. 10 Wildwood Lane, tax map 167, lot 27, in bracket 2 veterans. The next item is New Garden Road, number 119, tax map 247, lot 2. The next is 337 Beach Pond Road, tax map 98, lot 3. Next item on the bulk vote is property tax refunds and abatements. 124 Piper Lane, 2025, number 16, tax map 157, lot 1, $0. 66 Point of Pines Road, 2025, number 12, tax map 223, lot 5, $927.01. 186 Warren Sands Road, 2025, number 41, tax map 225, lot 5, for $400.22. 313 Camp School Road, 2025, number 57, tax map 262, lot 14, $891.57. Next item is 577 South Main Street, 2025, number 58, tax map 252, lot 34, for $5,641.43. The next one is 48 Whitegate Lane, 2025, number 61, tax map 215, lot 5, $721.91. The next one is Camp School Road, 2025, number 66, tax map 262, lot 10, $738.39. The next one is Camp School Road, 2025, number 71, tax map 262, lot 13, $2,034.71. The next is 18 Friend Street, 2025, number 72, tax map 203, lot 97, for $168.93. Number 3 Earl Shores Road, 2025, number 77, tax map 200, lot 19, for $1,443.12. The next is 281 Camp School Road, 2025, number 86, tax map 262, lot 8, for $808.86. The next is 2 Cedar Drive, 2025, number 93, tax map 201, lot 31-106, for $267.35. The next is 299 Camp School Road, 2025, number 97, tax map 262, lot 12, $847.71. The next is 325 Camp School Road, 2025, number 104, tax map 262, lot 15, $1,527.81. The next is 7 Longstack Lane, 2025, number 109, tax map 277, lot 32, for $152.32. The next is 129 Kingswood Road, 2025, number 112, tax map 250, lot 7, for $1,169.03. And the last item in the bulk vote is Wentworth Watershed. These are raffle permits for the Wentworth Watershed Association, June 24th of 2026, and the Wolfeboro Lions Club raffle permit for July 5, 2026. Having read all of that, Ms. Martin.
Yes, and I'll check with Brian. My understanding from something Lucy said, you also want the parking lot down at Dockside closed.
Yeah, that should be in the permit.
It's not, I didn't see it.
Brian, it's not in the permit.
Okay.
So what do we want to do about that?
Continue it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Which item is that? Number 4. So this is permit 2026-43?
Yeah.
Okay, so Can I get a motion to continue permit 2026-43 to be updated to include, what is it, closing the parking lot?
Yep.
You gonna move that?
Yeah, can we silence the phones too?
Yeah, who's chirping over there? Was that you, Barry? Wasn't you, John? Silence your phone? No, it's you. Cut it out. All right, so is there a motion to,
I'll make that motion that we table the work self-contained.
okay, have a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion to table permit 2026-43. All those in favor, aye, please?
Aye.
Aye, done. Okay, can I now get a motion to accept the bulk vote?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second for Mr. Senecal. Questions, comments, difficulties? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, board and committee assignments, we have none. New business. Approval of the capital improvement program guidelines. It is CIP time. Board members, in your package, there was a document that has been asked to be signed by the chair, send over to the capital improvements team, articulating what we're looking for. Any questions or comments, Linda? I think you might have had one.
Yeah, I think that number 13 is worded wrong, and it is not part of the guidelines. I think that's part of the procedure of this capital improvement plan committee. My feeling is this should say department heads will, in a timely manner, complete CIP forms and supporting documents, and have the town manager sign all documents.
I have no objection to that. Anybody else have a comment, Barry?
Just a comment. I know in the past it said town manager. And then I think there was a determination that the planner actually that was his duty.
Correct.
And then because we didn't have a planner, there was a gap in time, they reverted to town manager.
Hang on. Go ahead, Barry, finish. You, go ahead and finish, Barry.
No, that's all.
That was it?
So I think the reason the fall says what it does is because we didn't have a planner.
Okay, rebuttal, Linda?
Yeah, no, I disagree with you, Barry. The department heads bring those capital projects. They are under the town manager. The town manager decides whether those are the projects and the timing he wants. Because I can remember them coming through to the CIP committee, and the town manager didn't even know about one of them, and he wasn't happy. So my understanding is because these department heads are underneath the town manager should know and sign off that all these projects are going forward. That was my understanding. So that's why I made the change.
I didn't get that document.
You didn't get the document?
No, I didn't.
I didn't.
Anybody else get the
in
document?
mind.
Did you get it, Dave, in your package? Brian? We had two members of the board not get the document.
On the back side.
Oh, sorry. You got it?
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
It's all right. So the question on the table is item 13. I think there is no disagreement on the first 12. At least I don't have it. I had a question on 13 myself. You want to just quickly look at it, or John, or anybody you want to table?
Did we get any comment from Jeffrey?
This came over from the CIP team.
Has Jeffrey seen it?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we said this, number 13 was the one that was changed during this year's CIP meeting.
Okay, so he's good with it.
Yes, he's fine with this.
Okay, I'm okay with it.
Yes. But last year it said town manager.
I think if we go back and look, that's not, the one I pulled out, I think it was a 2024. I think it has been town manager. I'm more than willing to go back, and we can go back and look in history. So we're not arguing about what we want, because it really is the town manager. Your town planner has no idea whether these are appropriate projects to go forward, and where the town manager and his department head feel that the town should be moving. That is not under the planner.
So John, I'm going to put you on the spot. You think 13 is good. Why don't you read it, and if you wouldn't mind, tell us why you're all good with that. That's really putting you on the spot, and I don't mean to do that, but we have.
Well, it says signed and authorized by the director of planning, and the planner is the one that said last year when Jim was doing it, you said it was supposed to be the planner's job.
Of running the meetings and everything and putting the plan together. I'm talking about the submittal form. The submittal form says I'm going to have repave, let's say North Main Street. We're going to have a bond of $2 million. I have that. I have another one. I want to spend $5 million on redoing the roads. Those all are the submittal forms before we even go to the town to the CIP committee or to the town planner. It is the town manager who looks at that and talks to his department heads about the projects they're putting forward, and those projects and those department heads should be in sync with the town manager, not with the planning director.
So what I'm hearing from our interim town manager is that he discussed it with the planning director. How do you feel about it, David?
It doesn't matter either way to me. I was just told that the reason it got changed, because it reverted back to planner, where it was supposed to be, we can confirm that by going back.
And that's what I just said.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, I do understand Linda's, the planner is probably not the person really writing these, ultimately. So they're sort of facilitating the meetings, but.
So, the way I look at this is our former town manager introduced the scoring methodology, which I think people thought was actually a step function improvement on the past, rather than just, winging it. There was a little bit of method to the madness of trying to score these things. I personally believe the town manager and the planner, so I'm trying to mushin it here, but the town manager and the planner should be doing the scoring, but the leader here in terms of the scoring, ultimately, that we are going to want to congratulate is the town manager. And they're responsible for recommending to this board what the projects ought to be. The planner should be, and I hate to use the arm in arm, close by the hip. They should be close to each other, but the first person that I want to congratulate here is the town manager for doing this. That'd be my perspective. So board, what do you want to do?
So you don't find it difficult that we don't have a secure town manager and we have an interim town manager that says he's fine either way? So we're kind of creating a process with our new planner moving forward.
So what do you want to do?
I want to stick with what I said. I want, if Jeffrey's okay with it, I want to go through the process.
Linda.
Barry, when you used to have your submittal forms, did you sit down with the town planner or did you sit down with the town manager?
I sit down with the town manager.
And that's what I'm talking about. This is his form. Those are the projects he wanted to do. He fills out the form. That's the department head. I'm saying that form that he's filled out, all of those forms has to go to the town manager, and the town manager has to sign the form. After that, what happens to it, I don't care. But this is to the department heads. And the person they should be going to is the town manager.
Okay.
And that's what Barry had done for years.
Anybody else? We have three options here. Option one is support the document as written. Option two is to modify the document, which would require a motion from the person who wants it modified. Or option three is table it. What do you want to do?
So if we table it, how long are we going to table it for?
Next meeting? Because time is of the essence. We're about to kick this thing into gear.
So what are you trying to gain by tabling it?
I'm just giving you guys options. I mean, you can
Well,
either...
you're tabling it, so tell us
No,
why
I'm not.
you're
No,
tabling.
I didn't introduce a table. I'm just giving you what your three options are. Modify it to what Select Person Murray is saying, leave it as is, or table it for some other purpose, whatever it could be. Those are really your three, or deny it. Right. I don't think it's good. Linda?
I'm willing to make a motion.
So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So if these are submitted to a town manager, and we don't have a town manager, and our interim town manager is leaving on July 31st, how does that process go?
Well,
He will be here.
somebody's gonna sit in that corner office,
Yep.
all right? Someone's gonna have to sit in the corner office and make some decisions. My personal perspective on that, John, is I gotcha that we may not have a you know what receipt, but that doesn't obviate the task that needs to be accomplished here. I believe it is the responsibility of the town manager to score these things with the planner, but when it's done, we are gonna sit in this room live, and we are going to want to debate the capital that's coming before this board, and it's going to be the person sitting right over there that's going to have to argue the case. So hang on, one more, and then Linda, you make your motion? Or do you want to make it, hang on, Linda wanted to make a motion. Do you want to make it first, or do you want to?
Do you want to say something?
Go ahead.
So, if I follow the CIP process from where I've been just as an alternate, the CIP also scores all the projects. The department heads score all the projects.
They do.
I see no problem with the director of planning scoring what he considers the important projects, and the town manager scoring what he sees are the projects in order. Because the town manager's scoring doesn't rule the day. The committee scores them, the town manager scores them, and an average is taken of all the scores to put together the sheet. So why should the director of planning and development, if he's going to be monitoring the meetings, not have a score also, but the town manager can have a score also? One more set of scores is not going to
End the
change
day.
it. And it's going to give both our town manager and our planner input, and the planner should have some input because he's sitting there at the meetings, running the meetings.
Linda?
Yes, but these are guidelines to the department heads. They're not to, that's part of the CIP process.
Right.
Yeah, correct.
This is to the department heads. And what I'm saying is the forms that they want to submit, their projects needs to go to the town manager. He needs to know all of them. He needs to approve by signing that project can go forward. Then it goes over to the CIP. All this can happen within the CIP. This is going to the department head. Barry said he met with his town manager with his submittal forms.
But
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't see what you're saying. I don't see how that relates to 13 at all. What you're saying. I just don't see it.
Okay. So Linda, make a motion, please.
I make a motion that number 13 become the department heads will in a timely manner complete CIP forms and supporting documents and provide them to the town manager for his signature.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? There is no second. Motion fails. So I need a motion to approve the CIP as written.
I would like to make a motion.
Please.
Department heads will, in accordance with 13, department heads will, in accordance with the 2026 CIP committee meeting schedule, submit complete CIP forms and supporting documentation with signed authorization of the director of planning and the town manager. The department heads and director of planning and development will score all CIP, so the department heads, the director of planning and the town manager will score all CIP projects up to 3 years, 6 years. So just add in that the planner and the town manager both sign off on the documents and both score.
So I have a motion, Ryan, I'm going to try to shorthand this so we don't get into word sandwich, that on the first sentence you're going to, you want to make a motion to do what here?
So I want it says that the signed authorizations from the director of planning and development and the town manager and each department head, the department heads and the Director of Planning Development and the Town Manager will score all CIP projects up to 3 years, blah, 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 blah. So I'm just including our planner and our Town Manager both in the process.
So I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Senecal. Discussion. Linda?
Let me read the first sentence here. Below are the guidelines for department heads for the 2027 to 2036 capital improvement plan process approved by the select board. It's to them. You're talking about scoring of individuals, not relating to activity of the department head. That's my issue here. That's, so,
Okay.
I will lose, so, but.
All right, so I have a motion, a second. Any more discussion? Mr. Muccio, since you were intimately involved in this, any comments you want to offer us?
No, I think both is fine.
You think both
I
is
think to have both individuals there
So,
covers you.
Mr. Duche, we're going to need you to kind of mark up that hunk of paper, please. It'll be on the record, but for what needs to be sent out of here. I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote to support or not support Mr. Duche's motion.
Yes.
Mr. Senecal, yes. Mr. Duche?
Yes.
Ms. Murray?
No.
No. Mr. Thurston?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien, yes. All right, motion passes. Okay. This is how it works. We're friends when this is done. All right, Pop Whalen Revenue Report. Christine Collins, come on up and visit.
Okay. So before you have the report.
Loud, Christine, if you wouldn't
I'm
mind.
sorry, before, what's the matter?
Yeah, make it really loud so the folks out there can hear
Okay,
you.
before you have the Pop Whalen revenue report, it includes revenues and expenses. I did just notice something while I was looking at it. Off-season programs year-to-date says $46, but I know that's not true in the sense of...
$46.
I do need to look back because we did just have a couple of shows, but I believe the revenue was collected in the prior year, so that will be figured out when they booked it. So I just need to investigate that a little bit. I will tell you, we had our first wedding show at the Pop Whalen, which was a huge success for a very beginning show. They do want to come back next year. We also, we reached out to a home show organization who kind of travels like the wedding show, and they penciled in for next year as well. So it seems like, and we just had our yard sale this past weekend, which we realized might not be the best weekend for that, but it was still steady. And we have our flea market coming up in July. So we do seem to have reoccurring events that want to continue. That home show, they currently work at other rinks, and they've been like 40 years doing the same show. So it seems like once we do get those venues, it could be an ongoing thing that we just pencil in those weekends. So I am excited for that. Are there any questions on any of the...
Board
Yes.
members,
Oh, sorry.
questions? Linda?
Yes, when was the wedding show?
That was in April.
So are you telling me they paid in full in the prior year?
I believe so. I have to look because Brian had taken that revenue for it, but now looking at it, I was like, unless it got coded. So I'm gonna have to go back
Okay.
just to see where it's located. It might have been in the winter programs versus something, a glitch, so let me just check
Okay,
that.
it seems odd that we would.
I know.
collect
I don't
in
typically
full
do that, but
before
I'm not sure.
It even went off.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I may be wrong, and I normally am, but when you receive revenue, you book it. So the revenue got taken in purportedly in 2025. You book it. Now the question is the expense in 2026? So at the end of 2025, you'd set up some kind of an accrual that says that revenue is pledged to an activity in 2026, but you book it in 25.
Right.
You book it.
Yes.
That's financial accounting. If it's cash accounting, well, that's cash accounting. If it's financial accounting, you set up an accrual. So we're off, how much would that be?
That was, I think in total, we probably have like $3,000.
So $3,000?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, but, so we gotta, and I think Barry and I had a brief chat about how best to report this stuff, and this is something we gotta get better at. Are we using financial math, or are we using cash math? Because they're different.
Yeah. Well, usually I do meet with the finance director, and we go over, because the same thing happens if you think about, we bill people in January for their December ice, so we have to switch that as well. So it's just usually I give them a list to say this is 2025 or 2026, and we just have to make some adjustments.
So on a cash basis, you're taking in the revenue in January, but on an accrual basis, you're paying a bill that you had an expense back in.
Yes.
What's the outlook on a year-over-year? It's not a trick question. How are we doing on a year-over-year basis?
I think we definitely are increasing. We have started a ice skating program. Our ice is being booked. We actually have to turn people away in some sense, or try to find, come at 6 a.m., come at 10 p.m. So we're trying to get it in there. So I do think that we have a lot of more people looking. We actually had this past winter, we had an organization from Florida come up to Pop Whalen they did a whole weekend up there, and lucky for us, Mother Nature cooperated, and a lot of them saw snow for the first time. But it was exciting. There was a gentleman who had property up here. He came over, he had talked to the previous director and said, hey, what are the chances we could rent some ice? And so they came up for the weekend, and it was pretty awesome. They said they might want to try to do that again. So the word's getting out about Pop Whalen. I think people are excited. We did hear also Rochester might be redoing their rink. They're having some issues, so we could have some overflow of people trying to find a home when they start that project.
Board members, Linda?
Yeah, the advertising for the dasher boards, am I correct that there will be a bunch of things sent out in September?
Actually, we're starting that process now.
Yeah.
We just started the first round, so we will have it. What we like to do is have the ads in place prior to putting ice down, because it's just easier to put it on or take it off. So we just sent out a round of letter requests this past week, and then we'll follow up. So money should be trickling.
Right, for the boards
Yes.
and the banners.
Yes.
And all, just so everybody knows.
Correct.
Those banners and those boards throughout.
Mr.
Okay.
Thurston?
So back in the winter, we were having some well issues, and in the Victor Druin report, when they were doing the project, they said there was a study that was supposed to be done by Guilford Well and the town manager in that report. And that was going to validate whether or not the capacity of that well was good enough going forward.
Was that for the rink or for the hill?
What's that?
For the rink.
That was for the rink?
That was for the rink.
So was that done, and do you have a copy of it?
I don't know about that. I did have my foreman reach out to Guilford Well, however, because while we're doing those condenser tubes, I don't want to get into the same problem. So we did reach out to Guilford Well. We also talked to the people from ARC, which manages our compressors, and we're trying to get that under control. First, I want to have the conversation with Guilford Well. If they can't do it, there's another company that could help us, because we don't know if we need another filter or something, but we need to figure out what the problem is. And since Guilford Well was in the beginning, we're trying to reach out to them to have a conversation.
So if you go to that document, you'll read that there was some line items that showed all the statuses, and in one of those line items, that was one of the forwarding requests.
What was that, John?
The study for the well.
So did you get your question answered?
I think she's on it, but there's.
Well, what is this you're referring to that I would find this in that question?
That was the report that Victor supplied to us
Yeah.
about the status of the
Okay.
construction and all those
Okay.
sequences.
Okay.
I think part of that thing with Guilford Well was that they removed a 1,000-gallon holding tank that was in the building near the Zamboni.
We did not use that last year.
But that's what I'm saying, that's part of the problem, there is no backup water
Yes.
at the rink.
Yes. So we didn't.
I wanted to know, I think I asked the question back then, why haven't they replaced that 1,000-gallon retaining?
So when I stepped into this, that was an aggressive size for what we needed. The Guilford well, I believe, loaned it to us and they wanted it back. That's why we didn't use it, although it sat forever until they picked it up. And then I had reached out to them to ask them what could we get smaller. So I'll have to go back to see, but that was one of the things we were investigating as well. That was one of them, is not enough water, and the other one is what kind of water is coming in.
All right, so hang on. So we got two things going on here, right? So one is just to clear the dais. Are we okay with the numbers? Anybody got any question about the numbers?
Just a quick note on that. You notice that the transfer hasn't happened yet on the revenue side.
Okay. So because I want to close out, and then we get to the well and the water.
Well, yeah, but
Linda,
Cheddar
finger.
Go ahead.
Good.
Barry, when do you see us doing those transfers?
I spoke to her last week about it, as soon as after I got done with this. And,
Okay.
So it could happen as soon as next week, or we can wait till June and do the second quarter transfer with it. It'd be about $35,000.
Well, that gets to be a material amount of money on the books. So it's either next week or next month. Probably
Yeah,
want
we
to get a
can
little
wait.
closer.
I didn't see where it was. Besides the perception of what the number is, I didn't feel as though it mattered that much if we waited until June. But
That's
it's up to you folks.
So there's a question about the transferring, fine. Any more number questions? And then we want to get to some of the other stuff. My only issue on this, and is utilization of the facility. I don't know what the metrics are, and I'm not saying that as a mean-spirited question. I have no idea what the utilization nets are. I don't know. We're using the rink during the winter time. The utilization of the facility. And I have a selfish interest because of some meetings I've had in the past couple of days where I said, hey, what about Pop Whalen? People go, nah.
It's too far, is what they tell me.
I don't know what it is. But it's utilization of the facility. Yeah. You just got to get that sorted.
Yeah.
John, you had a question about or comment about something else?
Yeah, well, so the tank size might be aggressive for 1,000, but if the tank starts running low, I'd rather have more than less. So I'd rather go, if we have the room for a 1,000-gallon tank, we should have a 1,000-gallon tank.
So you got some advice that says, we need to answer the water question. Mm-hmm. Is that what you're saying, John?
Correct.
Because, Dave, I think you said if we run out of water, we might as well just...
Right.
Well, it affects our numbers.
Well, it affects a lot of things.
We did have a very rough winter. If it wasn't Pop Whalen, it was Abenaki, so we were taking turns. But we do feel like we have a good game plan. We're reaching out. I had good conversations with everyone to say, what are the issues, and let's figure out how we're going to start solving them, because we can't keep doing what we're doing.
Oh,
go ahead, John.
Because we have two water demand items. We have the rink itself.
And the spray guns.
And the Zamboni.
Well, and the guns.
And the spray guns.
Yeah. Well,
the guns come out of the pond.
Oh, it comes out. So
yes.
That's
why we didn't have water.
That's right. It was a pond problem.
The refrigeration loses water, and the Zamboni uses a lot of water.
Correct.
Those are the two items that demand on the well.
Mm-hmm. We have two wells.
We do. We have one that does the side with the locker rooms, and then I believe the one that is doing the Zamboni. We're trying to get clarity. That's why we're also talking to Guilford Well, because maintenance building is in that, and so is Abenaki.
And in that report, it talks about whether or not either well is still good for just what you're saying.
Correct.
So you have a single point of failure. I'm sorry, Liz, you go ahead.
Well, I think when they drilled a new well for the rink and it didn't produce what they had hoped it was going to produce.
Yes, but that document talks about them fracking and doing all this other stuff.
I'm just letting them know, the public know, that there was a new well drilled and it did not produce the amount of water that they thought it was going to.
And that was what precipitated the question of the study.
I understand that.
Yep.
That's what created the getting of the tank, was because they could use the low-producing well to fill up the tank and have extra water in the tank.
That, I didn't read that in that document.
Yeah. So Christine, you're hearing, and it's not fretful concern, but it could be, but you're hearing that we're observing, a single point of failure, and it's the W word, water.
Yep.
Could, it messes up the Zamboni, messes up a lot of things. And you heard Mr. Seneca say, you got to get that bazillion gallon tank question sorted. So I'm not sure about, do we want to get a memo? Do we want to have it come back? What do you want to do?
Let's, I haven't seen this report, so let's find it, let's go over it in-house and then we'll deal with it.
Barry, you got it, and keep us posted?
Yes.
Any other questions, Linda?
Yeah, I think what we might want to add to this, and you kind of started, is the hours of usage.
Yep.
Where we are this year compared to where we were last year. That gives us a better idea of how we're moving forward.
Yep.
That sounds good.
I mean, that's in your core. I'm asking rhetorically, but I assume it is. That's in your core metrics, right? Utilization of the facility?
Yes.
Okay. That would make sense. Anything else? Dave? Brian? Anything? John? You're good? Christine, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Next item on our agenda, appreciate that, is a brief update and discussion on the Abenaki Bright Bike Trail new construction. I think this one belongs to Mr. Duchesne.
So,
Or you?
No.
Us, yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah, okay.
Go right ahead.
Linda and I both. Linda and I both walked the trails with the Abenaki group, and it was a very confusing day. So what ended up happening was mappage and signage again has become the bane of our existence. We had maps that we were using to try and locate trails, and then we were told that the trails were not the trails on the map. Some of the trails were not actually even named. Some of the names had changed, and none of the signs had been installed. So there was a motion made last April that this board agreed on. Here's another motion that we didn't follow all
All right,
the way
enough of
through.
that. The motion made last April.
The motion said that we would not approve any more bike trails until we had maps and signage that we would understand, or that a layperson can go out and just go through the trails and know where they are.
All right, Linda.
Yeah, I think they tried to give us maps, all right? My thing is with you. I go there, I get a map, and then I say, well, what's this? Well, don't use that. Well, and I'm with Brian. I think we need a map that I can take and look at it and go and follow the trails, know what the names are. I went back and looked at all the documents starting in 2021. And first of all, they were two-way trails. Now we're making them all one-way trails, and I don't know where Yum Yum went as a trail.
It's in my tummy.
So I think I am with you, Brian. I think we need maps with all the trails, all the obstacles, all the hubs, bridges, etc., named, signs. They gave us a packet with signs, and we don't have them. So I'm with you, Brian. I felt, and Dave was there with us too. I felt that we went out to verify what they were doing, and we couldn't verify a thing.
Mr. Duchesne.
Let's pretend it's December 20th, and I have my Christmas wish list. My Christmas wish list would be a map with all trails named, trails that have names and locations that aren't going to change anymore, large legible print, because some of them are so fuzzy, and when we get them, we can't even read the names. Maps must be able to integrate with the town maps and the cross-country ski maps. We should be able to have a master map where we can see where everything is. I would like the culvert by the parking lot that the new operator of the plant said has been crushed by bikes driving over it to be replaced. I would like the cut through on Headwall, the downhill ski trail, turned to what was quoted to us, which was, they said they were gonna go through it with a 4-foot goat path. But it wasn't a 4-foot goat path. It is now 22 feet wide, because I took a picture of Luke standing on it at one time, and it
He's
has
not
all,
22 feet.
It has all riprap and everything, and that caused our ski slope to be shut down this year because they could not produce enough snow to make it work. I would like all trails, obstacles, hubs, bridges with appropriate signage for the names of the trails, directional identifiers, and difficulty level. This is what is at other facilities that have trails. I would like included is, like the cross-country ski group does, a map at all the hubs and at all the entrances, which is a full map that shows all the trails with a star on it that says, you are here, so that you can know what your location is. And I would like all closed or discontinued trails to be permanently closed, because brush was put in front of one trail that was closed down, and then a whole bunch of beaver, I think, got it, moved it, made a dam somewhere, and now that trail's being used again.
Okay, Mr. Duche, thank you for that. I have one other item on my Christmas list, but I'll wait. Mr. Senecal. Oh, he had
Can I
his,
speak to Brian?
yeah, but he had his finger up, and then you can speak to Brian.
And then I had mine.
He had his finger up, then you, okay? Dave?
The only thing that I thought came out of that, what do you want to call it, safari we had,
Lovely.
was that I think the next day or so, the young woman from the sewer treatment plant supplied us with a very nice map. It was very understandable. It wasn't hard to read and figure out that they were in our spray fields. That was pretty evident. And I thought she did a very nice job, again, in producing a map with all that information on it. It was very, why can't these people do that?
Okay.
That's my
That's on Brian's wish list for Christmas. John?
So I'd like to hold up my phone. The culvert that's at the end of Filter Bed Road, is that the parking lot that you're talking about, the culvert?
It's, if I can remember correctly, again, because it's like going like this when you're up there. There is a parking lot, and then there is a culvert that's on the far side of the parking lot that goes along one of the trails, and there was an opening where a trail went over it and where it was ridden over and was damaged, according to Woodward and Curran, not me.
Yeah.
This was Woodward and
Yeah,
Curran.
okay.
Their
Yeah.
operator said the bikes have been driving over this culvert and damaged this culvert. It
Okay.
needs to be replaced.
So John, keep going.
So this culvert is when you park at Filter Bed Road and you go down and then start going up the long hill. Right at the bottom,
Yep.
this culvert was exposed when we did the walk that day, and it never was fixed or repaired.
I think there's another one.
Okay.
There's another one too.
So there's
There's
the
two
culvert
culverts.
question. Linda?
Yes, we had a memo from Jim Pinio in March 13th of this year asking us to look at the bike trails that traverse Headwall and Freeway that have posed a significant challenge to alpine skiing operations. And in that is a recommendation or a question of, no, it's a recommendation, it is strongly recommended that a compromise between those utilizing the bike trails to return the bike trail traversing Headwall and Freeway to their pre-built out condition to provide quality and safe skier and rider experience. And I don't know whether we want to deal with this tonight or at another time, but I think this is, and I think the Park and Rec supports doing this, am I correct? And we have that memo, and I've scribbled all over it, but I can make a copy for you guys.
Paul?
Aside from this board of august people, I presume that this is managed by a name. and I'm not asking who the name is. Am I also correct, and this is a leading question, that we have situations where trails are being built and we don't know they're being built? Is that true? Come on up, Christine. Get on up here.
I think we have had a lot of changing of the guard over at our facility. I think that would be the first thing.
I'm not here to
So I think
identify
because of
anything.
that,
Yeah.
I think the board has accepted some, what the plan is, right? And I think there's just a little disconnect that we're not getting it. So what we have done with our department is Bo is managing Abenaki and he is taking the lead on bike trails. So when we had a conversation, I think he talked to Barry just recently, one of the things we want is if the board approves something and it says we're gonna do this, 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 and this, we want that sheet so then Bo can be following up to be the eyes of that project. I think Brian had suggested that before to have a point person. We're just taking, we want to be proactive for it, right? There's a lot of kids that come through, there's a lot of people that come through, and we just want to make sure, you know, we see trucks coming in, we don't know what was approved. So now we want to be in the know so we can be making sure things are being followed.
Brian?
So question for Christine.
Yes.
Does Bo have the availability and does he have the equipment to go up there and check things? And I've said this before, does he need a $600 or $700 electric bike so that he can monitor the trails?
Yes.
Would that make it helpful to him?
Yes.
Thank you.
We accept that from you.
Thank you, Brian. Linda?
Yeah, and as I went back, and I'm surprised you didn't get, there was a license agreement we had with, I guess it was Wolfeboro Single Track at that time. And part of the problem with this agreement, they didn't build the trails that we had agreed to. But I do want to point out, this agreement ends December 31st, 2026. So we have an opportunity
Time to update.
to get this together and get some of this straightened out. And if you don't have a copy there, I can. I'll give it to you.
You all set?
I've got some scribble on. I just put it back in my box.
You all set with it? So I don't think I got my question answered.
What was the question?
Is stuff getting built and we don't know about it?
It could be.
It could be, but I don't have your original paper to tell me that. And I think things were being said they were being done, but we're not sure if they were completed. So we're just asking to be in the know so we can help be on top of this.
So
We are already over there, so.
Brian, you're next, but I'm coming around to somehow the belief is this board is operating and you guys are playing catch up on what we're deciding to do. To me, that sounds backwards, just personally. We're supposed to, you know, kind of not do that, okay? Get out of your way. But it sounds like we may not be doing that. But this idea of, Brian, this idea of the map, a year ago in this room, and I remember asking an individual, you promised me you're going to get it, you promised me, and it's been a year. No maps. Or at least they have a map, but you're not supposed to look at it.
Well, they gave us such a
Don't look at this map, go over here. To me, anyway, Brian, go ahead.
When we went up there, not this visit, it was either 2 or 3 visits ago, we actually found some trails and they were there. Remember that one?
Yep.
Single Track was with us and we said, what's this trail? And they said, we don't know, somebody built that one. So there was somebody else other than Single Track up there that had taken off a trail and made another little zigzaggy and made a jump because they wanted another jump. It might have been teenagers, it might have been older men that thought they were teenagers. I don't know, it could have been anybody. But there was other things happening in there that even Single Track didn't know what were happening.
All right, so, anybody else? So I observed that we have a question about, you know, who do we congratulate to run this? And we're sorting that out. We have a question about maps, and we have a question about stuff getting built, and and we have a question about somebody representing from Woodard and Curran that stuff may be being built right next to our spray fields. I look at all of that and I say, I'm confused. Stop. Stop. And get the people in the room that are responsible for this and figure it out. But stop. That's my point of view.
Oh, to that point?
Yes, sir.
So shouldn't we be the ones to tell them to stop?
I just offered my thought.
Not her.
No. Right now, the responsibility appears to be on, I hate to use the word, it seems to be over here. We're in there doing stuff, and my advice to this team is stop until we figure it out. And then figuring it out is, we got to get you all in a room and figure it out. This doesn't make sense to me. It makes no sense.
So I would consider continuing to work with the group if I got my Christmas list figured out and finished.
And I'd like your Christmas list. I think that's the problem. We have no map that tells us really what it is. Boundaries, and we've asked for that, and we get little things, and then they do something else. So I think we should make a motion to not allow anything more to go on there until we get a map satisfactory to the board and the staff.
So I would
hang on. Linda's in the motion making mode. Okay. Linda, would you extend that motion to say, and we have clarity on operations, and we have clarity on the build plan?
Sure.
I have a motion made by Ms. Murray. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, but I would like to also add that I think I sent to all of you, or I didn't send it. I sent it to Amy, and it was supposed to be forwarded to all of you, my bike trail wants. And I would like for the board to look at it and add some of them into what needs to be done before we continue building trails, or hatchet them and cut them out, whatever people think is important and not important to them. I think all of this is important.
I agree.
Before we continue going, we have to have what we have now in great shape.
We should not be fumbling forward. Yes, Linda.
I would like us to take those and send a letter to whatever their name is, and tell them they need to stop. We will need to meet with them and come up with a new maintenance plan. And I do want to go back to that memo that Jim sent us about some of the trails that are affecting Abenaki. So let's get this stopped, send a letter, and then I would like that on an agenda, and that we...
Who's the letter drafter?
I
mean, everybody's got their hands down.
Free, from what I've seen, and I could be wrong, and I'm asking Christine, Freeway, the bike trail that cuts through Freeway is not that big, is it?
No, I don't think it is.
Does that one cause an issue with snow cover in the winter?
I don't think so, but I would have to check with Bo.
Okay.
I just know it wasn't an issue in the past because we were able to make snow, and then we had Mother Nature. This year we really noticed it, and that's why we need to address it.
So it kind of caused a kerflunk.
Okay.
So our back trails were
my
closed.
question though stands, who's the letter drafter?
Barry.
Wait a minute.
Barry, you're supposed to go like this.
This is called the decide, delegate, and disappear thing. Whoa! But wait a minute, it's your Christmas list.
You can't sit in the back row of the classroom and not be called on.
Yeah, but we don't want him sitting around with a dustpan and brush cleaning up after the elephant.
I will sit with Barry and we can draft a letter together.
I have a motion by Ms. Murray and a second by Mr. Duché to stop, get clarity around how it's operating, the maps.
Send a letter.
We'll send a letter. Mr. Duché is going to help pen the letter with Christine and Mr. Muccio. Any other conversation about the motion? All those in favor, aye, please? Aye. All right. Thank you, Christine. Bless you. All right, next is the Select Board Rules of Procedure. These are our rules. They're not mine, they're ours. Y'all had a chance to take a look at them. Anybody not briefed on them? Linda?
I've got some changes.
You got some changes.
Yes.
Okay, we
I'll
got,
start on page 6.
hang on guys, hang on, go ahead, Linda.
And you can take out your minutes that we approved on page 10. It has the motion, which is not the first yellow block. The motion was made, and it was any information provided to a select board member by the town manager shall go to all select board members. And that motion was made, and it was voted and approved 3-2. And you can check me all of this on it. So that has to be changed. On page 6, we got rid of one of the numbers, but it says select board shall table that emergency item by 97 votes. I'm not sure how we
How many votes did we get to 97? You think that's a
So
typo?
that is, and then there's down below.
Or is it line
98.
97, line 98?
We just vote 20 times.
Emergency
Well, we
line
tend
by
to do that.
87. That's not how it reads.
Yeah,
By
I know.
Wednesday, 98 before. So those two numbers need
Okay.
to come out of there,
Yep.
I think. And I would also, since we have to make changes anyhow, I would like to see if we can add to our agenda a number 5, temporary events. Put all the temporary events in that deal, so then we don't have to vote, or if we get down to it and, oh, by the way, we missed a parking space, we can add it in at that point.
Where,
And
what
then-
page are you on, Linda?
I'm on page 4, and then comes the bulk vote that we've done forever. I'm just making a line, and all those temporary events that we've put on the bulk vote would go.
So would you still
before.
want them to be bulk voted, or just call them out separately?
Just read them down, and if anybody wants to speak to them like you did today, but it's done not in the bulk vote, so we don't have to make a motion to remove something because we want to speak to it. Because the bulk vote, that's the only way you do it.
But you're not suggesting a public hearing, or are you?
No.
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 Just for the record, everybody, what we tried to do here is remove the public hearing aspect of that. Invite anybody who wants to speak to their special event permit, come on up and talk. Because we didn't want to have anybody say, I'm not getting any advertising on what I want to do. Amy does that affirmatively. And you're just saying, let's call it out as a separate item on the agenda?
That's all.
Okay, anybody object to that? John? Come on up. Anybody object to that? Brian, stop playing with the phone.
I'm looking for the email that I sent to Amy that I asked her, I don't know if she had time.
Your email that you sent to Amy just simply said you want to put in the application that folks can request time. Linda is calling a different question, and her question is, I want to carve it out of the bulk vote. I want to have it as a separate discussion item. That's all.
Oh, it worked okay tonight. It was fine. There was 2 issues. They got pulled out. One took 10 seconds. One took a little bit longer.
I'm making a motion that we do a separate line for temporary event, and we do.
I have a motion
handle
by
it just
Ms.
the way
Murray
we
to
have.
separate it out.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Then second the motion.
I'll second.
He seconds it. Okay, let's have a short discussion. Anybody want to discuss that?
I just think that we're going to end up getting into long-winded discussions again about special event permits.
You do?
And the ordinance doesn't even say that we have to have separate discussions about it. But I do believe that, because I was thinking about it, that if we had a statement that says, you do not need to attend a select board meeting to receive approval. However, you can come to a meeting and speak on your event if you desire. And I worded it much better than that in an email that I sent to you.
Yeah, you did. You actually had one
Yeah,
sentence.
and so that it would be on the top of the special event permit so that everybody would know clear as a bell, I'm getting my permit, but if I need to, if I want to, I can go advertise it also.
But again, Brian, I think, Linda, please, I'm not trying to wordsmith you here. I think what Select Person Murray is saying is, let's just take it out and have a conversation around special events. And we're not requiring, we're saying anybody who wants to come speak to that, they're always welcome to do that. We're going to put it on the website. We already agreed to all that. And John, you seconded that motion.
did.
Why don't you speak to why you support it?
Well, so I'm actually thinking of all the different permits, the raffle permit, that all those,
They're all gonna stay in the bulk vote.
they're all gonna stay in the
Because we
bulk.
just vote them in, they're just to be voted, there's no conversation about that. This could have some conversation.
As we have
Somebody-
tonight.
Well, yeah, there was one we wanted to deny, I had to remove it. If it's there, we just speak to it. I asked the question about the parking, you know, it just isn't that. We wouldn't do anything different other than it was just a separate line item and we leave the bulk vote as something we just vote in.
I agree with Brian. I don't want to go into the melodrama. I want to keep it short, concise, and be able to move them through without.
I see us doing exactly what we did, except they would have their own category and I wouldn't say, oh, by the way, I'm going to make you take a motion. Can I move this out because I have a question? We would just do it at that time.
And what was the difficulty, Linda, that you saw tonight, if I could ask?
Because I understand the bulk vote is something that we don't need to discuss. We just read them and we vote them in. It's a non-discussion. That's what we've always done. That's
All
why
right.
we put them in the bulk.
We have pulled other items out of the bulk vote before.
Yes, we have. I'm not saying we haven't. I'm just saying these are ones
All right.
that are a long list. And I just think it would be better if they had their own category and get them out of the bulk vote.
I'll call the question.
Okay, question's called, and that is to have special event permits have their own category on the agenda. No change, not changing your motion. No change to public hearings. They are what they are. Continue to invite people to come here if they want to. But Linda wants it to come out as a separate item. Roll call vote. Mr. Seneca. Yay?
I'd say no.
Brian says no. Linda?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
I'm going to go along with that, so it's a 4-1. Okay. All right. Anything else on the rules of procedure?
That's all I had.
All I had either. There was some. I thought I think this page 6, any information provided any individual. I saw the motion. What was your question?
I'm just saying, this needs to be changed to the motion that we made
Yes.
on page 10.
Yep, on the
May
minutes.
6 on the minutes,
Yeah.
and that's where I got it from.
Thank you. All right. More to come. We're going to vote on these. Get them in the barn. Okay. Mr. Thurston, did you have a question?
Of the minutes.
Minutes. Page 10 of the minutes.
At page 10 of the minutes in the beginning of the packet, tonight.
Okay.
Not.
Yeah.
Not on.
Yes.
Item E on the
Looking to
agenda.
Page 11, and I'm
Yeah.
walking on.
Yeah.
Item E on our agenda is Select Board Work Plan Survey results. We took all of our things we thought were important, and we put them into four boxes. What are those boxes? We put them into 4 boxes. We asked everybody to vote on them. I think we're all voted now, right?
Yep.
But we're not tabulated.
I was late because I just had a very, very busy couple of weeks.
Okay. So we're voted, but we're not tabulated, so there's nothing to report here on that.
No. There's no final outcome.
Well, there's some
Well-
there's some that we have 3. 1, 2, we have 3. There's some
Yeah.
where we have 3.
What's coming right to the top of the bottle is clearly the things that we all think should come to the top of the bottle, which is
Meet with L,
infrastructure-related
meet with-
things.
Meet with L, meet with 5.
All right? We're not tabulated.
Review and, it doesn't even, it's too abbreviated. You can't even-
It's not tabulated.
I hope we do this.
Oh.
That's how I have.
It's not tabulated, so
Agree.
leave it alone. All right? The last item in your book, box, is we are, and Amy has asked to have this on the agenda. I have no objection. I hope you guys don't either. There's a fair amount of people that are asking questions on a right-to-know basis. There's a fair amount of people who are asking questions that simply walk into the office. We need to get a little more structure into that process and activity. And it's not so much because of all the Xeroxing, is that a right term? Reproduction we're doing. But it's really aimed at someday in the near future having right-to-know requests on our town's website so that people can know what people are asking about. Right? Ultimately, you want to know what's being asked because you all have a right to know. So there's a piece of paper or two in your box. If you wouldn't mind taking a look at it, it's a start. And again, it's aimed at ultimately putting a little structure into the right to know, putting a little structure into what gets fed back, and then ensuring that the public can see how this works. Now, what Amy has done, and plagiarism in the nonprofit municipal world is permitted, she's gone around and looked at other towns and said, I'll just copy some of what they do. All right? So that's just for your benefit.
So is this for elected employees also?
Elected employees. If you have a right to know, you have a right to know.
Well, for like us, if we want to do...
We can do a right to know.
Yeah, you can do a right to know.
Lose our individual.
No, but do we have to pay the money?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're
Oh, yeah.
no different
You ain't
than
getting, there's no
everybody else.
freebies here. Actually, we'll make it
the
double.
big bucks you get
Yeah, all
for
the
being
big
a
bucks.
select person.
No, seriously, man, it's a cost of the town. And if we were to say, hey, you don't have to pay because you work for the
but
town,
can we do that legally?
it's a cost of the town.
Well, it's a right to know, so we have to provide it, don't we?
We have a responsibility to make sure we don't burn, yes, they have a right to know, but if there's a lot of documents involved, it's cost. Now, we could get the lawyer to check and say that's not appropriate, but, you know, we can do that. But look it over, make your questions.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, I'm going to move to the next item. Can I get a motion to go into the Libby trustees meeting?
So moved.
So moved. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Duché. All those in favor of becoming Libby trustees for a few minutes? Thank you very much. Mr. Duché, it's all yours.
Yep. What would you like?
It's all yours.
So, I went to a Friends of the Libby Museum meeting, and I will report, well, I won't have to report on it under my committee reports, but I can report it now. They asked for a laundry list of 5 items that I passed on to the town manager, and a lot of the stuff I was told that they already had.
Why don't you give us a headline on, you know, a handful of these things?
So one was they wanted to know the software package that we use to catalog the Libby collection. They wanted to know if we had anything in writing from the charitable trust unit that said what the requirements were for taking over the museum as for new trustees. They wanted to know in 1956 what items specifically were in the museum when Dr. Libby, when his heirs passed it by town warrant article to the select board at the time as trustees. Was there anything else that they wanted? There might have been one other thing. In response, I also asked them for copies of the minutes of the meeting that we had just had. There was one other thing I asked them for.
A mind is a terrible thing to lose.
Yeah.
What else did you ask?
Yeah. I know that right now we're in discussions with having the artifacts appraised. There's a...
they wanted a copy of that. Or
yeah,
they wanted a copy
they wanted a copy of that
Of the
also.
appraisal.
Of that.
Yeah, yeah.
They wanted a copy of our proposal. Now, our proposal is that someone will come in and they will do, it's the New Hampshire Antique Co-op. They're going to come in and they're going to look at the artifacts in bulk sections, depending if they're like items, and they're going to look at specific items that they think are more valuable, They're going to take, it's going to be 2 or 3 visits to the museum, and then a 3-month process. It's going to be $9,000 to $10,000 in order to give a full insurance appraisal of the entire collection.
Okay.
Then step 2 will be, after they do that, is they're going to be, potentially they can work with us, they said, with cleaning, repair, and storage. They're just looking at the pieces where they can get those things done. Certain things would go for repair and would go right to storage. Other things they might ask us to store ourselves, and they do have a large storage facility that's climate controlled, whatnot, blah, blah, where they would store other things. This is a big group. They have a 50, 60,000 square foot facility in Milford, New Hampshire, and they have a more upscale dealer in downtown Boston where they do fine artwork and other things that they auction off and sell. So they're in 3rd generation, 2nd or 3rd generation. They've been doing this for 37 years. I think they're a good company to help us out, and we can finally get a handle on what we have, what needs to be fixed, what the whole collection is worth.
So Brian, did you get copies of the minutes from the Friends meeting?
No. Did not.
Okay. Let's go back to the beginning. There was an ask of the software package that was used to catalog the contents of the collection. I may be incorrect, but in 2019,
Somewhere in that time.
somewhere in that time frame, the Friends of the Libby Museum, on their own nickel, inventory, documented, and provided us with not only a hard copy, but a soft copy, a database of that collection. And I may have the page number wrong, but on page 7 of that document that they gave to us, told them about the software. Is that not what are they looking for that?
Yeah, so they're looking for the laptop. They actually said to me,
they want
the laptop with the software on it, so that they know what software was used, and so that they can. I'm not sure if they want to use it to recheck the catalog or what they want to do. It wasn't specified.
So the ask is they want our laptop that has that data file in it. That data file can be sent to the cloud, and you can just simply query the cloud. So the ask is, we want the laptop.
Yeah.
Okay, board members, what do you want to do about that?
Do we still have the laptop?
I think we do. Amy found it. It was at the library. I'm pretty sure we do have the laptop. What do you want to do? Want to give them the laptop?
Can we have Block 5 take anything that's on the laptop and put it onto a drive for them or something?
Sure.
So that they have just the drive information? Block 5 can go through and make sure that there's no sensitive information in there or anything that maybe they shouldn't have, and pass on all the information to them that way.
I mean, they could park it up on a cloud. Yeah, so if the answer is, or board, do you have any objection? My personal thing is I don't want to necessarily pick up a laptop and say,
that's where
here
I
it
am.
is.
I'm having
Because we don't know if it's got my lunch, menu in there.
I have that. Or what the library's done to it.
Or what the library's done to it. But, to me, this is, you have a database, you import it up to a cloud, we pass them the keys to the cloud, and they can just do whatever they want to it.
Question.
So, yes, sir.
Is that like a right to know request? So that would be,
Could be.
that cost could be transferable back to.
Could be. Could be.
Because Block 5's not cheap.
Do you know whether they gave us the laptop? How did we get the laptop? Was it?
We don't know. We don't. So we should probably understand, did they give us the laptop, and if they did, then we give it back to them? My sense is that, and this is not, I'm not we could export stuff, we could export terabytes to Google Cloud in a matter of 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then just pass to them the keys to the candy store, and they could do it. We'll research that one. The second question, Brian, was what did the court tell us about, what's the rules of taking over as new trustee?
Oh, that was the second thing. They had a meeting with the CTU, and I asked them to summarize, and the gentleman who had the meeting with him, he was remote, so I don't know his name.
Jeff.
He said that he would provide us for tonight with a summary of the CTU meeting, because he said that the CTU told them that there was no financial requirement for a new set of trustees. He said that there was no experience necessary in running a museum by them. And he said that the building and the land on the water and the land under the building had to all be transferred in one piece, that it couldn't be separated. So I said, could you please summarize all the information that you had with the CTU, because you have now spoken about it in a public meeting, and provide me with a copy of that? He said, absolutely, I can do that.
Did you get it?
And no. And I said, can I have a copy of the minutes? And we did not get that. I said to send them to Barry, so that Barry could forward them to the entire board.
So on the second point, which is what are the rules and what are the rules that you have to follow in order to take over as a trustee, the Friends of the Libby Museum have standing with the Charitable Trust Unit. They have visited with the Charitable Trust Unit. Their vice chairman has told us what the Charitable Trust Unit told them as to what the rules are.
But it's very strange.
Why are we being asked to answer the same question?
And I said this to them. We're on the third or fourth director since I've been on the board in 5 years.
I think we could be on the fourth.
And the issue is every director has told us something different. One of the directors told us that they had to have $1 million endowment, and that they had to have library experience, and that it had to go to Cypre and all these other things. And now this director is saying that it's a much more lenient thing. Maybe they're getting tired and they just want it to be done.
Well, they can't get tired, it's donors.
It's going to court.
It's going to court.
It's going to go to the probate court, whether
It has to.
they say it or not. It's because it's in a will. and
It's in a will.
And you're changing a trustee.
Donor intent.
And that's going to be what it is. Yes, I'm sure different directors see things a little differently. What the director does is kind of help shepherd the process through the court. So it is important for us to be in sync with
But it
the
strikes,
charitable.
I'm sorry, it strikes me that they've already got their question answered.
I think they do.
By having a conversation with the charitable trust. So it's almost like I've spoken to the charitable trust, but I want you to do this, to do that. And then they've already had a direct conversation. So I'm not sure we have a good answer other than whatever the charitable trust told you can do.
Go to it.
Go to it. Just write it down on a piece of paper so we can look at it. Because I'm sure that we're going to want to be involved, have to be involved. We're current incumbent trustees.
Well, if they don't need any money, they don't need
They don't need any money.
We can just ship it
Give them the
over.
keys. But you know, and we're all being serious here. I mean, we still have a responsibility to the collection. We still have a responsibility to ensure that donor intent is followed. And donor documents are probably going to be a big part of this. And then the 1956 question, what was that, Brian?
They wanted to know if we had an inventory of exactly what was in the building when it was transferred in 1956. They said that there should have been a court document that would have listed the entire inventory. And I said, I have never seen one like that. It probably said the contents of the museum is what they said. Back in 56, when you went to get a building lot, it was the pin is the stone wall, the fence, and the tree. The stone wall's gone. The fence was replaced and the tree was cut down 30 years ago. So that's just the way they did things back then.
Well, there's an easy way, I think, to sort that problem. In 1956, or whenever it was, the court said it's the contents of Dr. Libby's collection. We know what that is.
No, we don't know what was donated before 1956. It wasn't Dr. Libby's.
I'm trying to do process of elimination. So we know what Dr. Libby's collection is, and that's about as good we can do there. The question then is, was there anything else in the museum? And on the file that the Friends of the Libby Museum built and donated to us, each one of those museum pieces has a date on it as to when it was donated to the museum.
so can there be
So you
a
could go in and you
circle
could do
in
a rough sort and say anything prior to 1956, print a report. But I'm not sure beyond that, because I haven't looked. So that's an ask. My only question to the Friends of the
And
Libby
I don't know
Museum-
if that software package can do that.
Of course it can. It's a database. You can sort on the database. And I mean that because we've done it. And I'm not trying to push you back.
I don't know.
My only ask is, and I'm being unfair, we've had individuals sit down with piles of paper provided by Amy over and over again. We've got to do that one more time. And so I think we'd be glad to, one more time?
Yeah, I mean.
One more time, we'll do that.
But I would like it to have one condition that we make a record and a list of what we have given them.
That's a motion, huh?
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much. So the motion here that says what we do provide to our good friends at the Friends of the Libby, we have a document that says here's what we gave you. Okay? All those in favor of that, aye please?
Aye.
Okay, we're going to recommend that automatically to the Board of Selected Human Beings to do that. Anything else, Brian?
No, I'm just trying to make sure that I didn't miss anything, because I did have Barry, do you have a copy of that email that I sent you?
I don't.
He's playing dumb.
You sent me some? No.
I have
You
one.
probably, I don't, you may have. What was it?
Yeah, I have one.
Sent me a copy.
And it relates and doesn't relate, but it relates to the Libby. So a week and a half ago, two members of the public who are now part of the Libby Preservation Alliance, is that the right words, Ann? Libby? I'm supposed to remember? My mind's mush, I apologize. The Libby Preservation Alliance. Two members came and said that we're incorporating a 501c3. We have their articles of incorporation. We received them from Nathan just the other day. There was a request made by that team to have a sit down to start the process of talking about what to do. Okay? Even though it's not part of the Friends of the Libby, it's a new organization who has some ambitions. Do we want to have a sit-down meeting with these folks?
Yes.
Yes. Anybody else?
I've asked for 2 or 3 years, I would love to have a sit down with the Friends of the, well, I wanted this, the Friends of the Libby, the Charitable Trust, and the trustees. I thought years ago, we should have had at least one, maybe a meeting a year where we could all be together, because this is, they talk to them and they get one thing, we talk to them, we get another thing, we go through our attorney and we get a third thing through them back to us, and it's terrible communication.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind all 4 groups now being in a room together.
John?
The Friends of the Libby and...
So Brian, you just want to get everybody in the room, just have a big confab.
Is that the purpose? I thought what we were doing is, we were going through our council with a checklist of things that we were supposed to do.
Every 90 days.
And that's how we were going.
Every 90 days, we have a duty to respond or to report to the Charitable Trust Unit. But the ask here is for this new group to sit down with us. Linda?
Yeah, I mean,
It's a little different.
that's in response to the warrant article that was passed.
Yes.
That said that the public wanted, if there was a group to,
That's correct.
to pass the trusteeship over to that group. They have formed, and I would like to meet with them and see how they plan to move forward. And if they want to talk to us, I think that's great.
I think go ahead, John.
I would like an outline of what they want.
Clear. I think that's right.
An agenda.
Yeah, I think they do too. I think there's,
Mystery dig.
I have the occasion to feed my coffee habit, and I have the occasion to go to North Main Cafe and had a chance to speak briefly with Madeline Long, who is on this new team. And I believe that that's what they want to do, and put down on a piece of paper what they want to accomplish, and if this board thinks it's a good idea to meet with them, fine. The question that was asked, and I don't know, did you ask the question about overlap? There's a member on the Friends who's also a member on this.
No, I didn't breach that.
You didn't breach that question, okay.
No.
So, but we'll, board members, is it okay if we call a sit down with with the new team?
After they provide us an
No.
outline.
Or
So I
put that.
found the Friends of
was
Libby
Google
Museum
searching it.
ask. It was court docs for the transfer to the trustees. Computer software that was used to manage the collection. Copy of the proposal. So far we're pretty good.
Yep.
So that's what they have wanted from us.
Yep.
What I asked for was a summary of their conversation with the CTU and financial assistance for the appraisal and the copy of the minutes from that meeting.
Okay, you didn't get those two things, we talked about the other thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I didn't get an answer either on whether they wanted to, so three things I didn't get an answer. They were supposed to send us information as to whether or not they wanted to help us with the $9,000 to $10,000 for the appraisal, which is way better than the $14 billion that we were going to spend at one time. Because they were going to offer us $80,000 billion for appraisal and storage. We might be way under that now. I don't know.
Okay, so we get a motion on this this new organization that wants to sit down and talk.
What's the motion?
Can I get one?
I'll make a motion that we sit down with the new nonprofit Libby organization.
Second. So the only stipulation is provide an agenda, is, put forth ahead of time so we don't. Excuse me?
20 minutes.
I know, I'm working on it. I'm working. This guy's telling me to hurry up. As long as we have an agenda that we can make sense of.
And that we have an agenda.
Okay. I have a motion and a second with the stipulation of an agenda. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you for that reminder, Dave. I appreciate it.
I'll make a motion we come out of the Libby trustees.
I have no objection. I have a second on that. I second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Any other business?
I do.
John?
So I was looking for an email on the Civics Plus. I emailed Amy today. She was probably busy, but I don't know if I could do a follow-up on that request from a concerned citizen that was, and I sent it to her. I don't know if
What's
the Outlook is not working or why it disappeared off of my thing.
I have on my phone, I have an email from Barry on my iPad, it's not there.
So another item in old business is there's a lot of people that are upset out there about the amount of sand that we used this winter. Tons of sand. I've gone to places, people are like, why so much? What's going on? I know that there's people up there in the North Wolfeboro area that have pea stone scattered 8, 10, 15 feet up over the stone walls. Deep. It's kind of scouring the landscape. I think we need to do a review on that policy, please.
And on that topic, I do remember, and this is one of these things we got to get better at sharing. I remember Steve did document to somebody the sand issue, but it's not getting around. So, maybe when we talk with Steve about roads, let's put that on the discussion. I agree. Anything else? You got any other new business? Any other business? Okay. Town manager's report?
Just want to congratulate Bill Morrison retiring from the meter reading of the electric department, 24 years.
There you go.
Yep.
And we got good news today. We received what they consider Prime 3 designation from Primex because of the work of our Joint Loss Management Committee. So we have a chance to get a 5% reduction in our liability workers' comp, and so that's good news.
5% of the big number is a big number.
And then Just a reminder, we're holding a tennis and pickleball meeting next Thursday, the 28th, at Popwell to discuss the two groups. So anybody interested is invited.
We were trying to figure out a way to libate people, but I guess we're just going to have poppin' pizza.
Poppin' pizza.
Popping pizza, but the purpose of this is there's some discussion about painting of the lines and how this all works, and rather than try to do a winners and losers, we'll get everybody in a room, just figure it out, try to figure it out, okay? Anything else? Barry?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, committee reports. Let's start with Mr. Thurston. None. Linda?
Yeah, I walked with the Russ Pond Association and the engineers, Horsley Witten, and we walked the Kingswood Art Complex and down Brewster Heights, crossroads of Route 28. These are the engineers who are going to put a plan together for the 319 grant to try to address all the soot, sand, and nutrients going into the north end of Russ Pond. So we're making some progress there. I went to the Chamber Social that was put on by Edward Jones. The Chamber on their website has a link. It says 250th, and they have the list of all events that are going to happen over around the 4th of July and the 250th. You don't have to be a chamber member to put any information up there. They're going to collect that all for the community. So there's a lot on there. So if you want to find out what's happening, go check that. I had a meeting of the Friends of Pop Whalen. I had a library trustees meeting, and the library's going strong. I met with the quilters regarding fundraising. I had a meeting today with Community Television. They're looking at their fundraising goals, and I met with the pickleball group. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Sunical?
Just one meeting with the Conservation Commission.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Deshays?
I had a Heritage Commission meeting. They were upbeat about the ZBA's ruling on South Main Street. They're still concerned because they believe that the building is going to still be demolished and just relocated somewhere on the lot. We had a special select board meeting, more discussion about the town manager position. I had a friend of Libby Museum meeting, which I've already talked enough about. And we had an EDC meeting where the main discussion was about everything.
Main discussion is about everything.
A lot on Winnipesaukee Day.
Lake Winnipesaukee Day, a lot on that, a lot on communication, a lot on everything. There was a lot. A discussion about that they want a summary of the recap that we had. The businesses want to see what the results of that recap were. And, but the EDC is doing a good job. There was one other really important thing that we discussed. Do you remember in the EDC?
Really important.
I forgot to even put the EDC in that I had done it.
It's really important.
I just remember spending a lot of time talking about the Winnipesaukee Day and the issues around that.
Oh, there was a discussion, the chamber brought up that they wanted the special event permits to be pulled out of the bulk vote and have them be separate because they think that we need more communication in town, and that's a way for people who come to speak for those special event permits, for them to be able to get their message across to the town.
But then also because they felt that the community calendar had been cut. It was the two of
correct,
them.
and that was a big thing. That was a big contentious thing about the community calendar being cut. But we also discussed that, and so that folks at home know, Amy will be putting all the special event permits that are approved on the select board's website, so
Right.
anybody can go at any time now. We've never had those before. They can scroll through and they can see all of them listed, so they know all the special events that were approved by the select board. So that's going to help catalog it so that people can go, oh, this is what's, and it's by the month. So you'll be able to see what's happening for special events approved by the town in May, June, July, August, September, so on and so forth.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? You good? Yes, we've continued on the recruitment. We do that in non-public. We've spent a lot of time together. It's always pleasurable. We're getting things done in that area. I attended a Wolfeboro Waters Committee meeting yesterday. Interesting stuff going on there. Linda and I had a session with pickleball people who wanted to talk about painting and striping the lines, and that precipitated what we're going to do next week or whenever out at the Pop. Mr. Senecal and I have visited with a person that we reached out to help us in the recruitment side. We've done that individually and collectively. We've reached out to what I call, community leaders, key opinion leaders, to help us. And Dave and I did that with an individual, kind of a second meeting the other day. I attended the police commission. Good things, when I say good things, I mean the police department appears to be vigilant. There's always a lot of work to do there, but I like the fact of what they're up to and what they're doing. And I have a note here that says communications, and I have no idea what that means. On special event permits,
I just wanted to tell the public we're still looking for a finance director.
Yes.
And reaching out if anybody
We are looking for a finance.
knows somebody who might be interested in being our finance director, we would like to hear.
And I will tell you that this board approved a recommendation by the town manager to increase the up to compensation of the finance director position. It's on the website.
Pay is flexible now. With experience.
We're just looking for somebody.
That's about all I had. Well, one last thing. Amy, bless her heart, and I mean this seriously, the special event permit thing needs to get, the string needs to get straightened out as to when you should apply and how you should go through the process. And she's got all of her colleagues kind of marshaled together to try to make sure that things get done in such a way that these things are much easier to understand. It's kind of a process improvement thing, and I give her great credit for doing that. Okay, with that, questions from the press? I don't believe we're live, so we don't have any. Public input, 3 minutes, please, each. Anybody want to come up? Brian, you got your time already?
She's got to get here first. People stop signing in the middle.
They got to sign in. Hi, Karen.
I have to sign in?
Yeah, you got to sign in.
A lot of
Oh
people.
my God, you
I
guys.
that's brutal. I mean, this is brutal what we're doing here. 3 minutes.
We got people that didn't sign in.
I got a long list.
3 minutes.
All right, I already sent an email asking about the town manager salary cap. I got a one response that indicated that it was partly due to the salary of the city manager for Concord, and I have to say it's hard for me to imagine. And I understand you may not have been able to read my message very well because the formatting got screwed up apparently. Whatever. I have to say that I have a hard time believing that a person who oversees a city of a population of 44,600 people is comparable to a town manager who oversees the management of a town of 6,600 people. And the relationship between the budgets of the town of Wolfeboro versus the city of Concord are substantial. The size of the departments, the number of staff, all those things. So it's hard for me to imagine that we chose to pick a top number that relates to the city of Concord. My second comment is a question related to the website. I haven't seen a lot of progress on improving our absolutely horrible town website.
And the last time I asked about it, it somehow was hanging on the fact that we had a person at the library working a half day a week on making improvements to it, and I don't know if that supposedly is still happening, but there's not a lot of evidence of it. So anything that could be said about the website would be helpful. I was going to ask about the progress on the financial director, but I now know the answer to that depressing little piece of news. And I always have a comment about sand, but I won't pursue it because you obviously are already, isn't that what you were talking about? Who was talking about the sand?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the sand is,
Well, let us have
yeah, all right. I will say that I went in, I have two things left. I went into the bathroom here and read the little recreation program newsletter, and it talked about how Tuftonboro and Brookfield people are allowed to participate, and we've had a collaborative agreement with them, I guess, for many years. Well, when I went in to ask about whether or not we could work out an arrangement to borrow a piece of equipment from the Wolfeboro Rec Department for Tuftonboro, I was given a very unreceptive response. I said, I'll pay a deposit, I'll sign my second child away to prove it, I'll replace it if something happens to it, I'll pay somehow for somebody to come with the piece of equipment, and it was just a totally, and I think that's just a not very neighborly way of reacting to somebody who, I mean, as it turns out, it wasn't going to work out because we had a conflict of date, but the reception was miserable. So I would like to have us reconsider our thinking on being a little more neighborly. And
Last but not least.
my last but not least comment is about the Libby Museum. And while I think it's an excellent idea that two parties meet, which was the motion, the new group of society, whatever the name of the society is, and I assume the trustees, the board, I think it should follow along the same lines as the point that was made about tennis and pickleball. You need to get all the parties in the room at the same time. And those parties include people that came from the Friends of, people from the society, the trustees, the charitable unit, the lawyers, and the, so that's at least 5 groups. And I think that you should also, when you make motions like that, decide who's responsible for doing the agenda. Because all you said was that there be agenda. And if you just always dump it on the poor volunteer group, that's not any more fair than it is when they ask you a question and you don't really want to answer it because they've had an opportunity to ask that of the charitable unit. If you've acknowledged the fact that the charitable unit has provided different answers based upon the staff they've had, it's not fair to suggest that there's not confusion on both sides as to what has been said. And so if they ask you a question, what do you understand the answer to be? I think that's a fair question for them to ask you to answer because they want to make sure that you're on the same page, and you've said it's important for you to be on the same page. So, all right.
Karen, thank you. How much time was that?
3 minutes.
It was not, it was the long 3-minute version. Anybody else? Can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Well,
Can I just say ditto? Susan
yeah,
Bunting.
but we want your name again. Ditto.
The Warren article that was passed in 2011 that I read to you earlier.
Yeah.
It was recommended by the Board of Selectmen and recommended by the Budget Committee at that time, and they had $93,000 in the capital reserve fund. And according to Mr. Pinio, when I asked, part of that was used for the study. I can't remember what study it was. And then I know 9,000 was recently taken out for asbestos removal.
Yeah.
I think we're down to like 72 or 73,000 left in that fund. Given that amount of money left in the fund, I've added up, we currently have raised, there's $1,150 that was not mentioned tonight that will be at the next time.
How much?
$1,150. But today, with that, that's in the fund right now, in your line item, or wherever it is, We have $222,730. There's a pledge of $10,000 from Lady to the Lake. There's $5,000 coming in June 3rd from the Lions Club. And the Rotary Club is interested in helping. If we had $70,000 coming out of that capital reserve fund, with all of that being said, we would have $322,730. That's a lot of money. Is it in a trust fund? Has it been transferred, and is it working for us and collecting interest while we're raising money? I don't have the answer to that. I've asked and I've asked. I even barged into the trust fund group and told me to go visit. I did. They were shocked. They didn't know what I was talking about. I was embarrassed. They were embarrassed. But basically, where's that money? And I need to be able to tell people it's safe. It's definitely designated for the renovation of the community center. And it's sitting in a trust fund that was passed by a warrant article in March. Where is it? Is it in that trust fund?
Thanks for your input. Thanks for your input. Okay. Motion to adjourn, folks?
Motion to adjourn.
Second? Anybody? John seconds. All those in favor adjourn? Aye.